Tonight, the All-Stars pull up. Jen, who are the All-Stars? You're going to see them in a minute. If you're here for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome to On the Block with Jen. I'm YouTube's bad girl and your favorite devil's advocate, Jen. Don't forget to support the show On the Block with Jen Cash App and On the Block with Jen Super Chat. Tonight's a special night. I invited some of my favorite people that I've interacted with here on the Block with Jen who pull up and bring it every single time, okay? I'm going to need your participation tonight, though, chat. I'm going to need you to tell me what you think about my All-Stars and what you think about their opinions. I picked some of the spiciest topics, okay, that we hear all over the place being debated and sliced and diced and dissected and argued about. We're going to bring them up tonight. And I want you to tell me what you think about my All-Star panel. If you're catching the replay, please leave what you think about my All-Star panel in the comments, okay? It is never too late. I'm going to bring them up. They're going to introduce themselves. So tonight is going to run a little differently. If you have a question for any of us or a comment that you must get seen, do it with a super chat. My vision, my ears clear up. It's incredible. I get 20/20 vision and perfect hearing when your comment or question is attached to a super chat. That's how we do it here on the Block with Jen. You already know. For the first hour, it's just going to be us, but we're going to have some other people coming through in the second hour, and that is where you, if you like, if you wanna, you can come up on the panel as well and push back, you know what I mean? Retort, rebuttal, contradict, argue. You can come in for the second hour, okay? The first hour is just gonna be just us dissecting these topics, okay? Some of these people I'm bringing up today are experts in these fields, all right? So that's another juicy thing that's gonna happen tonight. I see you all in the chat. Hold me down in the chat, okay? So I'm going to start bringing up my All-Star panel. And I would tell you be nice to them, but they don't need you to be nice to them, okay? These are my All-Stars, so bring it. What's up, Husband? I see you. All right, so let me bring up my people. Thank you so much for being here this evening, you guys. You guys. All right, let's go. Now I'm bringing up my All-Star panel in no particular order, okay? Because everyone's fabulous. I'll just do it as I see them on the row. Panel, please introduce yourself, your channel, what you do, what you think, what's your favorite thing, your favorite color, your ice cream, whatever you want the people to know about you. Let them know tonight before we get the party started. Hello, Coco.
Hello.
How are you?
I am Coco. I'm great. I am in the entertainment industry. I work in front and behind the camera. I also just started my own YouTube channel called Pillow Talk with Coco. And of course, I get blessed to be in your presence whenever I have the availability.
Well, thank you. Good to see you here. What do you talk about mostly on your YouTube channel? Let the people know.
I am trying. My avenue is mainly towards women and women, helping women to correct the mistakes that society is going in today's day and age, to help them acquire and the desirable man that they would like to by improving things about themselves.
Now, by improving, do you mean we should be more submissive?
Duh.
Okay. We'll pause right there, Coco. We will pause right there. Haran DeMarco, who are you, sir? Tell us. We can't hear you.
I just ruined that fucking intro. What's going on?
We are
totally
here.
Fucking blew that one. What's going on? What's going on, family? Well, y'all all know who I am, man.
These people, hey, some people may have just waltzed in.
Musician, tech junkie, big loud, Ving Ramish, voice on the panel most of the time. Right now, I'm just working with my IG page right now. If y'all can check it out, Dangerous DeMarco. I actually am releasing an instrumental album in March. If you guys want an advanced copy, just DM me. You know what I mean? At Dangerous DeMarco on IG. As a matter of fact, I'll just put it I might just put my not even mine. I'll just put my IG in the chat. I'm working on a YT channel right now. It's going to be mostly music driven. I plan on having some, having live streams of some of my shows.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Jam sessions, blah blah blah.
And you're
I'll give
supposed to
some
be
music
teaching
tips.
me. You're supposed to be teaching me how to play guitar.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
We're gonna have those wonderful tedious adventures. you know, I think that are going to be upcoming, but I'm gonna enjoy it. I haven't taught anyone guitar in a very long time, so I truly look forward to it. Also, there's gonna be times I'll be bringing some guys up, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about some game. You know what I
Okay.
mean? The actual game.
The actual game.
We're not gonna be hating on women and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? We're gonna turn you into some respectable, you know what I mean, well date paying gentlemen.
Okay, date paying. So are you going to be anti-manosphere?
Yeah, a couple of the points I push back on.
Okay,
We
cool.
ain't gonna be talking about the beauty of coffee dates
Okay.
or how it's wonderful to take your girl to McDonald's on the first date or some shit like that.
On that note, next up, the wonderful and talented Lily from YB Limited. Who are you, darling? Who are you?
Well, hello, panel, and hello, chat. I am Lily of YB Limited, spelled just like it's spelled. Well, no, it's not on the thing. I'm up here assuming. So it's spelled the letter Y, the letter B, the word limited. And that's on all platforms. And on my channel here on YouTube, I also have started to host my own podcast, which is Lily's Closet. You know. And I am the lady that Coco tried to warn you about.
And what do you do in Lily's closet? What are we going to learn when we pull up to Lily's closet?
What do I do when the cameras are on or off?
Oh, it's
Just
early.
saying.
It's early,
That's
Lily.
two
It's
different
early.
things. Oh, I forgot.
Too
This
early
ain't
for that.
Freaky Friday. This is just
This is
this is
not
hump
Freaky
day.
Friday.
Okay.
It's still family time, man.
Oh, okay. So this is hump day. All right.
Mhm.
So basically on Lily's Closet, it's just stuff that I like. Things that I'm interested in, which is an array of things because I'm like quad polar.
Mhm.
So yeah, it could be a lot of things. I just bring on interesting people.
Okay.
And I want to do it in a sense that like it's already starting to like kind of take off or whatever, but I want it to be just something that we're not seeing.
Okay.
I want to bring on people who don't always agree with me and my points because I see on a lot of podcasts that's the only people that they bring up. So I really am interested in hearing a lot of people's perspective in life.
Okay. Well, on that note, we're definitely not going to agree here tonight.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Next up, Vivian, darling, who are you?
Hello. It's nice to see everyone. Hey, panel. Hey, chat. My name is Vivian. I am a body positive advocate, plus size model, writer. I also have a Facebook group called the Big Fatty Army, where we get together and we just like help plus size creators take up space. I have a blog called heybiggirl.com. You can check it out. And let's see what else. I haven't started my YouTube channel yet, but I'm gonna get that together. But yeah, basically my TikTok is to help plus size creators just make more money in the industry, and I'm all about the plus size life.
Okay. Well, we like more money now. We like more money. All right. Next up, we have Miss Polly. Miss Polly, why do they call you Miss Polly?
Of course, of course. I am polyamorous, and that's really kind of advocate being poly. I also talk about just healthy relationships. I kind of promote healthy relationships, and who better to show you that than a person who deals with more than one relationship all the time? So that's what I kind of do right now. Have some life coaching that I started about 2 years ago, and giving out advice to people who are poly transitioning. But what I'm really known for is because I am poly, I also have more on the polyandry side, which is a woman with more than one male partner, and a committed relationship. So that's what kind of makes me a little bit different. There are a lot of other women that I'm aware of that have the same thing, but not a lot of people see that every day. But I do have a YouTube channel. It is Miss Polly Right, because we want people to poly the right way. And then we also talk, like I said, about healthy relationships and things like that. Um, I am pro helping men find better relationships and not be so bitter sometimes, because you can get hurt and translate that into nasty things. And it's not anything wrong with that, but we need to kind of learn how to communicate better. So I do have a lot of fans on Tag, which is a dating app. I go live on there, and a lot of gentlemen come in there and have conversations with me, and we talk it out, we work it out. So you guys can check me out on that. And I'm also thinking about starting a boutique. I was going to talk to Miss Lily about that a little later, maybe this year, and because I got to get some things going. But I definitely want to go into helping people better their relationships in the sexual bedroom area. So we would definitely want to share that. So that's where I am
good.
at.
Okay, good. Well, we need help with relationships, and your situation sounds yummy.
Mm.
Last but not least, Mr. Glenn Lawrence. How are you, darling? Tell us about you.
Well, I mean, what do you guys want to know? I'm like the most triggering effect on this panel. You know, like I'm only here
We'll
because
see tonight. We'll see.
I'm only here because that's called reverse affirmative action. And no saint wasn't available. So
He's available. He's coming through later.
see, but it wasn't available when I had to be here.
Okay.
So no, I'm I work in Hollywood in the industry, actor, editor, podcast host. I have a couple podcasts that I'm on. I'm on the my channel. I have like 2 that I throw up. Right now I'm giving a whole lot of smoke to some guy named Ricky Red Pill.
Oh.
Yeah, he's catching all the fades today. Poor guy. And then I'm on the Dragon Ship on Saturday with a panel group with guys. We're talking, relationships, dating tactics, dating understanding, dating techniques, stuff like that. Mainly more relationship stuff. And then this weekend, I'm actually going to be in Vegas working with Rollo Tomasi on a couple projects with him. So yeah, kind of everywhere.
Nice. Well, I see you already have fans in the chat. Someone said, "Bring in the king." Okay. All right. On that note, we're gonna get through this No Saint, and then I know No Saint is chomping at the bits. He was like, "Let me up here."
Look at him. He's ready to go.
We'll bring you up. We will bring you up. Well, thank you so much, panel, for the introductions. Do me a favor, guys. I love these people from the bottom of my whittle cold heart made of coal. Do me a favor and write down their names so you can follow them on Instagram or YouTube. Guess what, guys? You can support and not even watch them all the time. Doesn't take much to go over, write down a name, and just click like or subscribe on someone's page or follow. Okay. You follow a lot of people that ignore you, like celebrities and athletes. So why not support people that are here, right? And you could actually talk to, right? So write these names down if you can for me. Okay. That would be really great if you could support that way. All right. So this is the all-star team, okay, of On the Block with Jen. We're going to get right into these topics. We're going to run through them. We may not get through all of them. Again, in the chat, do me a favor. Let me know what you think about my panelists and what their answers are. And if you disagree with them, throw it in the chat, okay? We want to also see what you guys are saying because it may be something I'm not thinking about, and you may bring something to my attention that I could challenge them with. So let me know in the chat what you think about them and what they're saying. We're going to jump right in. Trigger warning. You guys already know what I say. If you can't handle it, don't complain. Just find another channel. There are 50 million YouTube channels. Pick another one. Okay, so let's jump right in on the first one. What you think? Should we go extra mild or spicy? What do you say, panel? Should we
I think it should be a build up.
Okay. All right.
Should be a build up.
The
Don't just
careful
shove it all
man.
the way in. Don't just shove it all the way in. It can get real messy. Trust me.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Go hard.
especially for people who are just tuning in for the first time. I don't think they know what they're tuning into.
So we want to fake the experience. We want to fake it. We don't want to let them know what really goes on the block.
Woo!
All right, I'll ease in. Here's a little Vaseline. Are submissive women better partners? Are
Yeah.
submissive women better partners? Coco?
Yes. And hello, heads. I have not gotten aggressive yet. I really do believe that they are, because submissive women are less controversial. And men like peace, men like to be respected. They're like, men don't really mind it if you have like little tiffs here and there, because it kind of spices things up, and then you can get like that little angry rough sex afterwards sometimes, and it spices that thing up. But I mean, men typically do like submissive women because men are supposed to lead. So if you're trying to debate who is the leader of the household, who really has the final word and everything, it's going to create a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
You still have a voice, even being a submissive wife, because they come to you and they're like, well, this is where I think we're going to be heading, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then if you have concerns, they'll listen. They'll address that when they're brainstorming it. But I do believe that they make much better partners than somebody who's going to constantly nag them all the time.
Does anybody want to challenge that?
Yeah, I'm going to have to, because I feel like that is one of those things that it's good in theory and it sounds good on the internet. But then when you when you enter real life into the chat, shit gets real tricky real quick. See, now I'm the type. Please don't. Please, if my man is watching, if you watching, boo, can you tune off for 2 seconds? Because I got some shit to say. Okay. See, I'm the type that, I'll be submissive until I really need to get my way. Okay. But sometimes my submission can look a little bit different. Sometimes it can look like, in the sense of me making you think it was your idea. My mother's really, really good at that, right? She's like the queen of making my dad think that he came up with the idea. So he's thinking she's being submissive, but in reality, she's not. Okay. Now, I don't believe in emasculating my man. I don't believe in emasculating my man by any means, because for some reason, I just feel like that's something that they can't come back from, because I'm going to go ahead and say it. The male ego is very fragile. You got to handle it with care. I'm sorry to say that, but I'm not sorry. I think it could be real fragile. So,
So you say no emasculating. So you don't think every now and then you got to roll up that newspaper and pop him in the head? Every now and then, Lily? Every now and then?
Maybe not in the head. Could be on the wrist,
Okay.
But like some type of something, because yes, you do sometimes, because it's yeah.
Okay, so we have some men on the panel who I'm sure want to challenge that. I will say, as far as submissive women, I'm what most men hate. I am submissive con condiciones. I'm conditionally submissive. If you are worthy of submission, then I'm submissive. But 9 times out of 10, men are not worthy of submission, though they think they are. I will pass the mic, though. Who wants next? Do the guys want to jump in, or you want to wait for all the ladies to respond?
I'll say something real
Yes, the
quick.
man wants. Okay.
I'll say something real quick. First of all, I ain't getting popped in the back of my head. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I have no problem. I require submission, but not a woman who's a doormat. Like I was saying something to that effect yesterday. If we're in the same car and I could be having tunnel vision, I could just be so intent on the goal, I'm not really paying attention to the smallest of details. Don't watch us go over the cliff, man. You know what I mean? Tap me on the shoulder and express a concern. I may have missed something. It happens. You know what I mean? If we're both in the same boat, yes, I am the leader, but I do expect you to be my second in command, and to, you know what I mean, very much so. So you have to really, you know what I mean, in some regards, sometimes you do have to watch my six. Powerful men make sure that they have that kind of woman with them. You know, men, captains of industry. Nine
Mhm.
times out of 10, their wives are vicious.
Yeah.
You know, when you see them, they tend to look doting. They tend to look very submissive, and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
But underneath that, all that woman is an animal. You
Yep.
know, so shit like that is the kind of things that I'm talking about. If you're walking around with a woman that's she's just a doormat, and she's willing to say she's a yes person, a yes woman, that's going to lead to your demise eventually. Man.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Is this submissive? Like, is this the same thing as saying, like, the man is the leader, like he's leading, and then the woman is to follow, kind of situation? Like,
Well, let's ask the submissive women on the panel. Are there any submissive women on the panel? Okay, then let's ask Coco.
I was actually going to say, off of what Haran was saying, that they are describing submissive, as he explained, a doormat or a yes man. That is not true. Being submissive does not mean that you are a doormat. I am not a doormat. I have never been a doormat. Being submissive means that you have found the person that their atmosphere, their frame, their lifestyle is so desirable, and the way that they treat you and bring you into their life and the things that they want to provide you and give you is so desirable that you follow them. It's about following them. Yes, he doesn't get the final say in absolutely everything. He's just like, this is what we're doing. Where there's going to be a conversation. He respects me. He loves me. He's going to take the things that I say because they do matter. Because I have an outside opinion for him. Yes, your significant other is supposed to watch your six. That's what your wife is for, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. That's what they are for. That doesn't mean that they're a doormat, because, and I'm not going to say yes. I don't. Ask Glenn. I don't always say yes. I'm like, hold on, back the truck up. Like, can we have a conversation about this first? Because I don't understand. So it's about the desirability of what they want to give you and provide for you to be submissive. Because I agree with Jen. I'm not submissive for everybody. You have to find the right person that you're willing to be submissive for. It's not conditional. I'm a submissive woman, submissive woman in nature, but not every man has the qualities for me to follow him because he's not there yet.
Hello. Stupid chat, guys. I see a lot of comments. I can't, the green ones and the orange ones and the red ones get my attention. Okay. All right. Does anyone else have anything to add on submissive women being better partners?
I just would like
I
to.
will say something. Oh, go ahead, baby.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, I like how the comments about women, but I think it's partners in general. You would think that it would be women that should be more submissive, but in fact, I think a good partnership with anyone should be one that you're going to submit. Um, because submission happens when true submission happens when you trust that person. Okay, you trust what they believe, you feel safe and secure, because when you're safe and secure, you're more likely to go along with what this person is doing, because you know that they're thinking about your well-being. They're thinking, okay, hey, I trust this man's making this decision because he knows what I want, and he wants to include me in that. He's not just doing this because he just wants to do what he wants to do. So if you're thinking of it in that way, and even if it's not a man, a woman, to say you're going to be submitting to your partner because you trust them, and that's a real big thing. A lot of people out here are with each other and they don't trust their partners, and they'll actually be with people they don't really trust. And then when you don't trust someone, that's why I think a lot of women are rah 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 to these men, because they actually don't trust them. And like you said, maybe even earn it or deserve it, but they'll still date you, but they don't actually trust your intuition. They don't trust your ideas. They don't trust your path, but they're with you. And if they don't trust you, then no, they're not going to submit, because they challenge everything you say, because their plan in their mind is better than yours. And you're not thinking of them in their mind. You're not thinking of them. So no, why do I submit to someone who doesn't care about my well-being and my feelings and thoughts? I don't feel secure in this relationship. And so no, I cannot follow that. And so you're going to have someone who's going to battle you. But if you feel secure with the person, you know that they care about you, you know they desire the best for you, you don't let them make those decisions for you because you trust them. So I think it has to do with that, the trust, the security, and knowing someone really is thinking of your well-being when they make these plans.
Yeah, been there, done that. Yes, it is possible to be with someone that you don't fully trust, and trust as far as like they're gonna hold it down and they're gonna make the right decisions. And then women become combative. And I know what people are gonna retort. Well, why were you with them? Same reason you were with every ex that you have today, sir or ma'am. Right? You get with somebody and you think it's gonna work, and then it doesn't work, and then you hold on until it's fucking finally over. Because people say that all the time. Well, then why were you with her? Why were you with him? That's how relationships work. Sometimes they don't. All right. Vivian, you wanted to add something.
I was just gonna say I think submissive men make better partners.
Oh.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
That's what I wanted to say. But no, I do agree with Miss Polly. So, but also I do agree with what I just said as well.
Wait, you can't just leave us there, Vivian. Why do you think men make better partners if they're submissive?
Because their ego and doesn't get in the way, and it's like it's kind of like if they really want to just make you happy, if they really just care about the relationship, that it's not about a woman submitting to a man. I think a lot of times the man has to submit to the woman because it's something that instead it's like the man is leading, but I feel like in a lot of cases the woman is leading and the man sometimes have to submit to her. And I don't know, I've just been in relationships. I don't know if it's because I'm a bigger woman. Men that come to me, they want me to dominate. They want me, I am often the leader in the relationship, and they submit to me, and I feel like I've had good relationships that way. It doesn't mean that they're totally like a doormat, like, you know, like Coco was saying. Submissive is, I feel like everyone has different meanings of being submissive, but I feel like in the long run, it depends on the relationship. If the relationship is healthy, you guys are both going to be submitting at different times. But when a man comes into a relationship with the attitude like, you know, I will submit to you, then that will also make the woman want to do the same thing. But when the man is like, I'm the leader, I'm the man.
Is there audio? Shit, she gonna beat the sound into submission. Go ahead, God
All
damn.
right, okay.
God damn.
Maybe she's on to something.
Oh,
She
you
has
know,
a superpower. Maybe
yeah,
know.
maybe his work, maybe working. You know, before she fixes it, I would say only thing I've seen that's bad with men who are too submissive is that sometimes they'll say yes to everything. Like you could have a horrible idea and they'll say, yeah, it's a great idea, babe, because they just want to say yeah. And you're like, listen, you're letting me do crazy stuff, okay? And I need you to pull me back in reality sometimes. I need that help. Where's my, partner in help? Because if they submit too much, it's like they'll say yes to everything. You're like, do I look good today? You might look horrible. They'll be like, no, but you're my butterfly. No, stop. I don't want to be your butterfly. I want to know if I look like trash when I go outside this door.
So you want him to be an assertive man when it's convenient to you.
I need you to be assertive all the time, but don't let me out here look like a fool. I wouldn't let you go out here with one of your eyebrows half off and your drawers hanging out because I just think you my boo. No,
Okay, so
I
let
can't do
me
that. You're gonna
rephrase
have to
that.
pull it together.
Let me rephrase that. You want
Yes,
him to
sir.
be you want him to be submissive when it's, I guess, not the moments when you're asking him if your eyebrow is bigger than the other. When it's not those moments,
Right.
those is when you need the
I'm
submissive
just
guy.
saying these are negatives. I'm just saying these are
Okay,
negative things with a
I'm
man
just
who
trying
is
to
too
zero
submissive.
in.
But I
I'm
mean,
just
yeah.
sorry. I'm just trying to zero in at what point in time is, a man expected to show up. I don't know if it's 2 o'clock and there's a bump going on downstairs and it sounds like an intruder. Do you want a submissive man then, or do you want an aggressive man then? When you need to be protected
Yeah,
or taken
I
care of.
definitely, yeah.
Okay,
I
so
want someone to be protective in that situation. I definitely don't want, even if myself, like I'm that kind of person to probably go down there with you. I've always had a discussion where like we a team. I feel like we both gonna go down there, but
okay,
in the same breath, I just don't like too much submission because I feel like sometimes they'll just agree too much, and that's a problem.
okay.
Because if you're never saying no just because you love me, that's I need you to see beyond that. I need you to tell me no because you love me. Don't say yes because you love me. You say no sometimes because you love me too.
Okay, so, right. That's actually a great point. Say no because you love me sometimes too. It sounds like Miss Polly's talking about balance. Before we pass the mic, and I'm sure it's going to be eventful when I pass the mic. I want to read these super chats. Thank you for the super chat, Tristan Draper. Tristan says submission is a social construct. It means nothing and only validates, inflates unearned ego and unearned confident people to feel good about results from the work they did not put in. Sis,
He talking about Pookie and Ray Ray now.
yet.
Because they the main ones down to the manosphere talking about submit, submit, submit. I'm
Mhm.
your king, but they ain't got no kingdom. So I think
That
Ooh.
that's who Tristan is talking about. Because like, the man, at least the man that I'm dating or I'm going for,
Mhm.
has those type of qualities that, okay, you know what? I'll give you an opportunity to lead. Okay. I'll give you an opportunity to lead, or at least think you leading, right? But meanwhile, I'm ready with plan B because that's what like how women are. We plan B, C, D down to
Mhm.
G, right? And so because that's the whole multitasking thing. But like Tristan said, there's a lot of them that want this type of submission, but they haven't
Well,
earned
no,
it.
Tristan said in totality, it's a social construct.
Oh,
So that would mean that even the good guys, not just the Pookies and Ray Rays, are running around seeking, wanting, desiring submission, and they probably are not even complete men, not necessarily bad men, but not even worthy of submission. We're gonna need Glenn Lawrence in here for that. Thank you for the super chat, Kings and
I,
Dreams.
I I just want to say I just want to
Hold
say
on, let me read
something.
the super chat. Hold on.
Okay.
Women don't want weak men. Quality men lead, and women follow because they trust him to lead. Sounds fair. You were saying, Haran?
Yeah, if submission is a social construct, then based on logic, dominance would also be a social construct, and also love would be a social construct. So what are we really talking about here?
You said
Are
logic.
we No, based on logic,
Uh huh.
dominance would be a social construct, such as submission would be a social construct. Because we're going to talk about one side of the pole, we must also, involve the other side of the pole. And love itself, the concept of love itself is also a social construct.
I think it is. With that
So
said, I will pass it. I'll pass it to Glenn Lawrence. Glenn Lawrence, are
Yeah.
submissive women better partners? What do you think about this? I mean, some people are saying it's better if men are submissive. Some people are saying, like me, it's conditional submissiveness. What say you?
Um, all submission is conditional. All love is conditional. Okay, like you may find somebody attractive and you may be interested in them, but if you don't love them, you're not going to stick around. Women should not see. Here's the thing. All right, guys are so quick to demand submission, as Tristan said, that they have not earned. They have not proven themselves to be worthy enough, right, for that. But when you're in a relationship, and let's say you're married, and you guys have made the decision, like, yeah, I want to be together. We're together. I trust you. You trust me. Okay. At that point, that means there is a dynamic there. Well, okay, man leads because you expect him to do a lot. So the
Mhm.
person that tends to carry the most responsibility or carry the most risk at weight tends to be the one that's gonna have the more control over what's going on. You know, why should I take all the responsibility and give you the control? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
if I'm going to take all the responsibility for this, you know, where we're going, and I'm the one that's supposed to be providing, I'm the one that's supposed to be taking care of everything, you expect me to provide things for you, right? So it's like, well, then that comes with a give and take there. You know, you surrender submission, and it's not even, see, people take submission the wrong way. People think it's like you have your servitude, your opinion doesn't matter, that that what you say you have no rights. You better get in that kitchen barefoot and pregnant. Bitch, you better have my meal on the plate by 7. You know, like they think it's like that. You better give me the booty like every 35 minutes on the hour. Like they think it's like that, and that's not it at all. Like submission there's a difference between obedience and submission. Okay, obedience is like, I'm doing this shit because I don't want to get in trouble. All right, I'm doing this shit to avoid a consequence. Submission is, I desire to serve this person. I desire to do this for this person. It's not because they're not making me, they're not asking me to. I desire to. I desire to please this person. There's a big difference between obedience and submission. Guys tend to come in this space and they're like beating their chest, like, bitch, you better submit. What the fuck did you do? What did you do? What have you shown her that validates her submission? You know, so there's a lot of misunderstanding in this space these days. But I totally agree at the end of the day that, you know, a submissive woman is more complimentary to a man than it really depends, because okay, I prefer a submissive woman. That's why I have Coco, right? You know, like I wouldn't get with somebody that was not submissive. It doesn't work for our dynamics. We can't have two, you know, overly strong-willed people in there. And Coco's strong-willed. Trust me, she can hold her own. And but it's like, can't have two big heads just bump. It's just not going to get anywhere. You can't have two chiefs in the hut. You know, no two chefs in the kitchen.
Okay,
Right.
so let me jump in here real quick. For everybody watching, Coco and Glenn are a couple. How many years now?
Almost 5. 5 in September.
5. Okay, almost 5.
Jesus.
So really quickly, so we move along, I do want to play this video. I want you guys to watch it, chat as well. Let me know.
Can I tell Don Levon something real quick?
Yeah,
Don,
sure.
there is a better word for it. It's called deference, male deference. She defers to the man, or deference to her husband. She defers those problems or those decision making to her husband. It's just deference. Because submission does have a horrible word. It's a horrible rap these days. So I agree with him.
It has become quite the dirty word. So I'm going to play this video. I want you guys to briefly tell me, is she perfect, or this is too much submission, or it's the perfect amount of submission? And tell me briefly so we can move on to the next thing. You guys let me know. Is this perfect submission, or is this too much?
You know, like packing his bag, unpacking his bag, just making sure all the things that he wants. And like, I pretty much read his mind. So it's like, if I know you and I study you, like I know how you are in the morning, I know how you are about midday, I know when you're in this mood, what you need. Like before you can ever ask me for something, I'm already on it. I mean, he's spoiled. And you know, when I talk to my girlfriends about it, I was like, oh, how are you guys doing? And I'm just like, girl, he's rotten. I'm like, he's spoiled rotten. Like he's rotten. But I love that. Like I want him to be that. I think my biggest flex is how I treat my man. And I've been known to love people back to health. And sometimes it's very draining, but my love is my superpower. And I used to hate that about myself. But now it's like, I'm just embracing it. Like that's who I am. Like if I love you, I can heal you.
It's your joy.
It is my joy. You know, I love to see him eating the meal that I cooked. I love seeing him sleep easy. Every night, like clockwork, I scratch this man's back to sleep. And I know when he's asleep because I can tell when his breathing changes. And some people might think that's psychotic, but that's like, I just know that's when I'm like, oh, I can stop now. But I find joy in being your rest, you know? So know what that means. And that works for us because he wants what I have to offer.
Perfect or too
straight
much?
out of a comic book.
Right.
Perfect or too much?
I was
Perfect or
with
too much?
This is way too much. That's just
Glenn,
she's lying.
perfect or too much?
So this depends, right? Like, so I don't have Coco do all
Is
that
it
shit.
perfect or is it too
No,
much?
it's
Perfect or too
for
much?
me, that's a little too much. Don't
It really.
Yeah, it's a little too much. Like, okay, because
Both men on the panel said, ladies and gentlemen, both men on the panel said that's too much.
here's the thing: a guy is still supposed to be independent. Like, he's supposed to still take
Right.
care of his own shit. All right, like, if now there's times where I've asked Coco to help me out doing something because I'll be in the middle of a project or something. Like, hey babe, can you help me like get this together real quick?
Mhm.
And she's like, yeah, she'll do it. Perfect. But like, no, I don't need her laying out my clothes. Okay, I don't need her, to have my shoes all cleaned up and picked out like for me. Like, which one do you want to wear? Like, no, I don't. I could do that my damn self. Okay, like, and trust me, I don't want her to dress me all the time. I'll look like a Ken doll. And so, like, I don't need her to do all that stuff because you still need to show as a man that you are the person that can take care of her. You're still taking care of her at the end of the day. Like, by being the man, you're still taking care of her. If you end up turning to a child that she's cleaning up after or having to take care of, like, oh, sweetie, you got some, little, I'm here, let me get that for you. Like, they're still doing that to you. Like, then they become your mom. All right. And I don't.
she's, for the record, she's the girlfriend of Cam
Yeah,
Newton.
I know.
Does it change that she's
No.
with an athlete? Is she in a position where she has to be extra catering because she's dating an athlete, you think?
I think, depending on the dynamic, like, I mean, you got to figure like the position that he's in, right? He could have as many girlfriends as if he wanted to. One, Cam Newton's has been, really conservative dude, so I'm sure he has very strict expectations for his relationship. So maybe for her relationship with him, that's what she needs to do. That's what's required. That's what he expects from his girlfriend that's going to be in a relationship with him to do those things. And if it works for them, that's great. I mean, if she wants to do that, that's great. If she doesn't, then she can leave.
Okay, so anyone else want to make a point on the mothering aspect of that before we move on, or are we cool to move on? Because I thought
Yes.
if I heard her talking and I didn't know it was about a man, I would think it was about a baby, because that's how I used to put my baby to sleep. Like, you rub your baby's back and then you can tell if the baby's breathing heavy, the baby is sleeping. So I found it interesting talking about an adult.
I mean, yeah, I'll tell you because I've done this. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Maybe not to the extent as her, but definitely I started because it made me like I was already a little bit controlling. I will say that. Well, I like to kind of control everything that's going on around me. That was what I used to do, and I would control it so much. And he saw it as me being so helpful, but it actually was me being controlling because I can control what we buy, how the money's ran, I was controlling all these aspects, even so much that when I actually had got sick one time, and I think it handicapped him because when I wasn't around, he couldn't function. And so you don't want to handicap your partner because you've basically taken over all these aspects because they're so used to you being there and doing certain things. When you're not there, sometimes they'll just be like, oh my gosh, I'm just so used to someone else being here doing this. Just like you said, like you want to show that you can stand on your own and be sufficient to any partner. So if you have taken over so much of the roles and responsibility in a relationship, you actually are handicapping the person you're with. And that's just my opinion. That's happened to me. And I saw that. And then actually when we broke up, he would still call me for a while and ask me like, hey, how do you do this? I don't know how to do this, or what did you do? And then after a while, he stopped asking me because I was like, you got this. And I saw him actually take more responsibility in which he wasn't doing before because I took control of that. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's a little too much. You got to let these men do it.
too much. Okay, let me jump in here. Thank you for the super chat. Super chat breakdown, Levon. The mic sounds good. Yes, it does, doesn't it? My next career, ASMR. So let's jump into the next subject really quickly. One that is one of my faves, and I got the video for that. The next one is men should pay all the bills to bring peace to the home. They should pay all the bills. And I got a little show and tell for you. What do you think about what this guy is saying?
Men should pay all the bills, even from day one.
I like this.
From day one. You have to remember what type of presentation are you presenting to a woman, you know? Hey, I'm this dude that wants you to come in the situation and you do you and I do me. What's the point of being with somebody? You should do this literally on date number one, right? Cool. Oh, you got a car note. Okay, cool. This and that. Have your own before you start dating. That way, when you meet a young lady, it's immediately like, hey, I'm gonna take care of this. It's not you being paymaster. It's you saying, you're with me, you are with me. You're not with him no more. Now imagine if you take over and you say, no, I got this, and this. That lets that woman know that you are not playing any games and you are serious about getting it with her. What I hate the most is paying half the rent. Because even some ladies say, no, I agree, I'm supposed to split half the rent. That's because you never met a real man, boo-boo.
Yes.
If you would have met a real man, he would never let you pay all the bills or even half the bills.
Ouch. So really quickly, let me elaborate on what I feel about that. And you guys I'll pass the mic. The reason why I like this idea and I think it makes for perfect peace in a home is because when a woman is working outside of the home to maintain the home, she is no longer sitting in her femininity all the way. And men love feminine women, right? We hear that a lot. Feminine. If I'm going out there and I've been in situations where I was working and he was working and we were half this and half of that and you pay this and you pay that, I'm no longer that little dainty, you know what I mean, little Lily, running around in perfectly matching lingerie and dinner on the table. If I'm working, you're working, then we're partners, we're roommates. It just so happens every now and then we smash. But I am no longer that, doting, subservient, submissive woman for you. So if a man wants perfect peace in his house and perfect submission on the heels of submission, he should pay all the dang bills. My money should be miscellaneous. Passing the mic.
That's the point that I was going to go with, Jen. You want total submission, but paying 50-50. That don't go too well. That almost goes to the point I think that Ms. Polly was making about the submission, right? Because I've been there as well. I went from paying like 50-50 to like paying more. And then on top of that, making sure that the house is clean. And then I'm doing all of the things that, like all of the things that I was doing in the beginning that made you attracted to me, making sure that my legs are smooth, making sure that, just like so many different things that women have to do around the house, the prep for sex, the sex, all of that stuff. And then at some point, I actually started to feel like I was his parent. Well, I went from feeling like I was his roommate, right, to his parent, and then I lost all sexual desire.
Oh,
so it's like, yeah, I'm telling you that the money thing does. Let me just go ahead and say it. The money thing get the women horny. That's going to get you, which, if you take care of the finances, more than likely they will take care of you.
Natural lubricant.
I will co-sign that because I've suffered from dry vagina many a time. I had to reach into my purse. So I can vouch that is a fact. And I've always been my most submissive and subservient with a man that I knew was financially capable of taking care of everything. That's when I've been my most submissive. But men don't like hearing that, right? But that is the absolute truth. If I feel like I don't have to go in my bag every time we go out or vacation or what have you, then yeah. Let's get baby well oiled. Go ahead, Coco.
I was going to say that I agree with you and Miss Lily that a man should pay all the bills, especially if that's your guys' dynamic. If he speaks and says, like, this is what, that's typically what you're supposed to do when you're changing your relationship. That if the man goes like, I want to be the provider, these are the things that I desire. I just want to come home to a clean house. My laundry's done. Like, not being his mother, because same thing with Miss Lily. I was in that position once before with my ex-husband. Good man, but he always was with somebody that I noticed that was always like very mothering to him. Granted, he also didn't have a very good mother. His mother was never there. So he liked the nurturing aspect because he never got it. But it got to the point where it was just disgusting. So I was also working 3 jobs, putting him through his career. And I was going to school. And I was still food prepping for him. I literally would food prep for him for an entire month, freezer dry it, cut it off, cook it, put it in bags because, he was in academy. So I made sure that he had it when he was gone. And every month when he came back, I made him a whole crap meal on top of still working 3 jobs to put him through this. And then at some point when it was supposed to be my turn to just be the at-home wife, that never happened. So he still wanted me to work, but he still wanted me to do everything else as well. And we had a 4,000 square foot home. Ouch. Imagine trying to clean that crap by yourself and do the laundry and food prep, go grocery shopping, pick up his uniform, and still go to 2 jobs.
I will not imagine, Coco. I will not imagine.
Like, I lost all desirability in that. And he was also he wasn't a very masculine and dominant man. And it was not very attractive to me. Yes, he eventually provided, but he didn't want to provide all the way. He believed that women should also be career women. Like, he desired a career woman, which that's fine. But then when I left, he's like, oh, that's not important. That's not important. I'm like, yeah, because you realize that a career woman is not going to give you the things that you desired, which was having a clean house and having your food, being sexually openly available to you, waiting for you to have food and lingerie when you come home, like in a duster. Like, you're not going to have that anymore. So I agree. I think it's very attractive when a man shows masculinity and the need, want, and desire to actually provide for you, so that way you can do your duties that he finds appealing in his significant other.
Hello. Anybody else got anything on this, or are we moving on? What say you?
I'll say a few things.
Or not?
Yeah. Okay. So, in a relationship, if you guys are living together, absolutely, no problem.
Oh. Okay.
If you guys are living together, yeah, no problem. But if you guys are not living together and you have your own place, you have your own space, that's your business. Like, it's not my problem until it's in my house. So, like, once you guys are living together and you're cohabitating, yeah, absolutely. He's taking care of the bills. That's leadership. You guys, if you want to lead, you have to lead. But what comes with that, though, there's a give and take, though. You know what I'm saying? There's a give and take. If I am going to be paying for everything, I'm not buying your vagina, okay? Like, your vagina comes with you, okay? So if I got you, your vagina is mine. It's already mine now, okay? Just like my dick is yours, your vagina is mine, all right? So there's none of this like, oh, it's a quid pro quo, all right? So there's none of that shit. What comes with me covering all the bills and stuff is now that deference to your authority. Your authority now gets deferred to me at that point. If I'm being responsible for providing, then you give me that authority. That's the trade-off.
Okay, thank you for the super chat, Don Levon. Don Levon says, a man can't ask for submission and ask for the money, half the money for the rent. The math ain't mathin'. It didn't math for me either. It did not math for me either when I was in that situation. I was like, time to look for the better deal. Anybody else got anything on men should pay all the bills?
I'll say that I think that it's geolocation and income specific. Meaning that, if you're making $40,000 and you live in New York, you're gonna be going half with your lady, man. Unless you live in the bungalows.
So now, shouldn't he be okay? Let me push back though. Shouldn't he not get a lady if he has to have a lady who needs to pay half? Regardless of where he lives.
Should he not get a lady if she has to pay half? Yeah. In my opinion, no. If he wants to beat his chest and say that, a man is supposed to be paying half the bills, because the only thing you're offering under those circumstances is poverty. So on one end, you think that you're beating your chest and you're saying that, yes, I'm paying all the bills, but you're not going to get any kind of submission because you're feeding the top ramen. So she's going to hate you for living in fucking poverty. So you kind of shot yourself in the foot. So, you know, I mean, one of the things that I'm saying is that if you're going to live in that kind of environment, you should be making, if you are going to be living in places like, you know, California, LA, or New York, or expensive metro areas, you should at least be making $250,000.
Mhm.
At the very
Here-
least.
here's
Now,
the
wait
thing.
1 second, Glenn. Wait 1 second.
Yeah.
Now, if you go someplace else, you know what I mean, where the cost of living is cheaper and your money is, you know what I mean, is beating it at least 5 to 1, you know, then yeah, sure. But don't put yourself in a my point is this. Set yourself up for success. If you're gonna pay all the bills, make sure that you can pay all the bills. Because if you put yourself in a situation where you look like an idiot, you know, the only thing that's going to come out of it is that you're going to look as if a person who can't lead efficiently, a person with no vision, because you should have had the vision to say that my money can't stretch long enough in this particular area. I'm either A, going to get more money here, or B, leave. So, you know, a lot of times we discuss these topics without really digging deep and say, okay, but think about this, think about that. See, leadership isn't about just a title. Okay, it's not just a title. So the problem is, you know what I mean, with a lot of dudes, you know what I mean, they want submission and so on and so forth, because deep down they're dealing with a constant sense of powerlessness, and they have no power outside of the home. So they want power inside of the home just because they're a guy, but they provide no incentive. They provide no vision. They provide no vision. They provide nothing. You have to provide something. You have to provide a goal. You have to be a leader, and you have to understand certain things if you're going to run the home efficiently.
Okay, so I agree with Don Levon before we move on. Well, that's okay for her to pay half the bills, but lower your voice when you talk to me.
I mean, that's the other half, though. There's a give and take in all scenarios. Just to let y'all know, though, I could pay all the bills, but I live alone, and I refuse to actually have somebody live with me. So
Okay.
my cheat code is that the way that I can guarantee that there's peace and quiet in my home, ain't nobody in here but me.
Okay, so moving on.
Well,
Again,
let me add to that, like, real quick.
mhm.
See, like the way that we're talking about it right now, it's like almost as if submission is something that like a guy should be like demanding or expecting, like having to get out of his girl. Like, okay, I did this, so now give me that submission. You know, it's like it shouldn't. It's if the girl is not freely willing, displaying that she wants to give it to you, then you have to ask yourself, is her submission what you want? Now, for me, it's a requirement. That's just that's how I live my life. That's what I expect. That's what I want in my life. So to me, it's a requirement. Like I should not have to demand it. I'm not going to fight for you for it. You know, if you're not wanting to give it, then that's fine. Then you're not wanting to be with me, and that's great. We go our ways. But if you have to fight for it, and if you have to try to pry it out of her or convince her, or you're coercing her, or you're trying to negotiate, you can't negotiate desire. Because if she truly desires to be in a relationship with you, she's going to give that up to you freely. You're not going to have to ask for it. You're not going to have to like, hey, girl, you know, you're going to go do this now. Like, you don't have to do that when you're that guy. It's going to
Right.
be freely delivered.
Right.
Why?
And I was in a lot of women, not just me, I'm sure, but I was in a situation where a man was constantly trying to convince me why I should be submissive, sending me religious pamphlets and videos, and this is why women should submit. And I'm like, yeah, and you need to pay for dinner every now and then, I think.
Yeah, it's like they don't realize, like, if you are already not the guy that she genuinely desires, you're not going to get submission from her. You're going to get forced obligation. Okay,
Yeah.
you're going
And
to get
resentment.
that duty
And
sex.
resentment.
All right, it's like he's like I'm going to behave because I have to, not because I desire to. And that's the difference. When you should never have to talk about submission, because if she truly loves you or truly wants to be with you, and she values who you are, she knows that losing you is not what she wants. So she will hand that over freely.
Right. Okay, so let's move on. We're gonna switch gears a little bit. Again, chat. Let us know what you think of these answers in the chat. Feel free to also throw in there what you think about the panelists. Let's jump into another lane. Let's talk about body image. Two parts. Are plus size women just lazy? And does big pharma promote obesity? And I want to add a third. Are clothes companies exploiting plus size women like lingerie? We see Fenty, Savage Fenty by Rihanna has a huge, you know, collection of lingerie for plus size women, and now Victoria's Secret jumped on it. But we know Victoria's Secret for decades was 34, 24, 34, right? But now they see Rihanna making all this money, so now all the lingerie companies are like, oh, there's money there. So is it just a capitalist society? Are they exploiting these women? Are plus size women just lazy? Is big pharma taking a part? Are they promoting? Does this country promote obesity because they know it's gonna, pay off, because obese people need medications and doctor's appointments more than the average person? What do you think? Passing the mic.
I don't think that all obese people are lazy. For many reasons. I have a sister, she's always been big. I mean, always, from birth till today. But one of the most active people I know ran track in high school, just all kind of stuff, like just super, super active. And I know plenty of people, sometimes it's metabolism. It could be a myriad of things, right? And I'm really big on people being okay in the body that they're in, right? That day, like if this is your body today, if you feel like you're probably too small, too big, or whatever, still find a way to be okay with who you are that day. Because at the end of the day, it's about health. Now, getting into the next topic, the next part of it, about the brands. Was it about the brands?
Yeah, brands.
I do believe that brands, I'm clear that brands exploit not just obesity, but a lot of different things. Right now it's obesity, right now it's also the LGBTQ plus community. All right. The thing is, if you're part of either of those communities, you also benefit. And it's also a way to, okay, since y'all want to exploit, all right, let me find a way to get in and flip the tables as well, and hold this door open as long as I can, for whoever else. So yes, I do feel like they do exploit, but at the same time, if you're smart, you can flip that, right? The last part of it, what was the last one?
Big pharma.
Oh God, big pharma. Okay. I have very I do not like big pharma, but I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I have a couple of friends who work for big pharma. I'm talking about, like, they're the people who help get these drugs pushed and passed and things like that. And they will, if they're honest, they will be the first one to tell you that the healthcare system has nothing absolutely positively to do about health or care. The last thing they can care about is your health. Okay. And that, unfortunately, obesity does tend to come with a lot of different other things, such as diabetes and heart disease and things like that. And big pharma loves stuff like that. They live and thrive for stuff like that. So going back to my first point is, there is a possibility, there is a world where you can be overweight and be healthy at the same time, right? And because I see a lot of us who are within the average of what we're supposed to be in our weight size, but are super unhealthy. Don't barely go to the doctor. Don't take any supplements. Don't get up and move around. I mean, for God's sakes, when people come to visit me here in New York and I have to just walk a block to the train station with them, they're like already huffing and puffing. We haven't even started the day. And this has nothing to do with weight, you know? So this is all, you know, so I think that, yeah, that's pretty much my take on all of those.
Okay, passing the mic.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So about the brands exploiting plus size women, and about like Victoria's Secret catching on to the loop. One, all the industry knows that plus size clothing will sell if you market it right. There's 70% of women that are plus size and only 20% of clothing that actually cater to plus sizes. It's been in the data for years. They just chose not to put out clothing for that particular demographic. That was just their choice. And as far as like going off of a brand that's exploiting and making that beneficial to yourself as far as like financial, I mean, sure, you could do that, but if Victoria's Secret ever came to me and was like, yeah, we wanna send you some free products, we wanna pay you to do a brand deal with us, no, absolutely no. Like, I would never work with Victoria's Secret. And it's only because the plus size community is so strong about representation, about loyalty. We really want to make sure that people care about us as a demographic, not just to make that money. And we're getting wise to all of that. So I think that is beneficial if you are talking with the right brands that actually care about it, and you don't have to settle for like saying yes to a brand that's possibly exploiting you just for financial gain. And then as the like, are plus size women lazy? I think if you're lazy, you're lazy. It doesn't have anything to do with you being plus size or you being very thin. If you're a lazy person, you're a lazy person. A lot of plus size women that I know are not lazy because they're putting everyone in front of them before themselves. And they're taking care of everything else, and they literally don't sit down to take care of themselves, or they're dealing with trauma. Or a lot of plus size people are dealing with trauma, and it shows on their body than anywhere else. And obesity it's a mind, to me, is a mind disease. It's not like, I think a lot of people have this idea that, oh, if you're fat or obese, just don't eat as much and work out. And it's like, no, it's not that easy. Like, we could all work out, have the same diet, and our bodies will still be totally different. And that's because we just have different bodies. But also, it's like, for me to be, so for a personal trainer to be like, do this, do this, do this, I might mentally not be able to do it because of the blockage that I have. But people won't see that. They'll look at your body and be like, oh, you're fat because you just eat too much. And that's not true. But yeah, I do, when it comes to like big pharma, like, yeah, absolutely, they're promoting obesity because they want you to purchase weight loss drugs. And like, that's a big, huge industry. There's like underground doctors that are just giving out phentermine and metformin and all these diabetes like pills that will cut your appetite. Yeah, that's a huge industry. But I think health in general is just a big industry in the United States. They want you to get sick. That's why we have that's why our apples have wax on them. Our apples, like, that's why we have all these fast food places. Yeah, they want to make money off of anyone, not just plus size people.
So what do you say? America's like what, one of the biggest obese countries. I hear other countries are catching up, but they're also expanding junk food to other countries. But America has the most obese population. 70% is a humongous number, right? Do you think all those people have some sort of mental blockage, or it's just a culture here in America where it's like supersize this and supersize that, and our portions are absolutely ridiculous in comparison to Italy and France and things like that? Do you think it's more of just mentally lazy than physically lazy? Like, hey, I live in America and I could supersize my fry and put chili on it and cheese and what have you, and who cares, because Victoria's Secret or Savage Fenty is going to make me sexy. They're making a bra and panties in size 2X, 3X. So who cares? I'm going to be sexy no matter what. What do you think about that?
That's a good point. But I think it's both. I think that other countries label, like we have some products in the grocery store right now that is like totally will increase cancer, that is carcinogenic, and it's banned in other countries. You won't see it in the grocery store, and if you do, there's a big fat label saying the warning of that package. So that has something to do with it too. I also just believe, this is just my theory, some people are more sensitive to the food that we have in the United States. Jim, me and you can eat the same thing. I will probably gain weight and you probably won't. You know, it's just my body is more sensitive to the food that I'm taking in. And also I think there is a factor of like, well, I'm a big girl now. I'm gonna get a brand deal with Savage Fenty. Because you can make money off of being plus size. And I think maybe some women are like, okay, well, I don't care that I'm plus size, even if I can't walk up a set of stairs without, having to take a break. Like, I don't know, because that's not me. And let me just tell you, I will always be plus size. Even if I get down, even if I lose weight, I will never probably go past a size 12, because that's just where I feel comfortable. To be a perspective, I'm a size 22. So that's where I would feel comfortable. I wouldn't feel comfortable going anything lower than a size 12. But I feel like some women probably are like giving, that's kind of like an excuse to be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna like think about my health. I'm just gonna become like this plus size baddie, and I'm gonna like do that and do this. And I'm like, I'm all for that as long as you're taking care of your health. Because if you not taking care of your health, you can't do anything else.
So I want to pass the mic to Lily. Go ahead.
I want to ask, what do you feel about Lizzo's image? What do you being a plus size model and seeing Lizzo being the poster, like the main face for plus size women? What do you feel about that?
I like it. I just sometimes get sick of her shaking her ass all the time. Like, every time I go on Instagram, it's just like her twerking. It's like, sometimes it's a little too much for me. But I have to say, I absolutely adore Lizzo. I think that she has came and represented for plus size women. She has definitely kind of like opened the door. And I hope to see like more plus size representation in like reality shows, dating shows, just movies in general. Like, I don't want to see another movie where it's like the fat friend giving the thin friend advice on dating advice. Like, I feel like she's slowly like opening that door for more and more plus size women to come through. I mean, I know some people don't like her and she has her, her quirks and everything like that. But overall, like, to me, I'm like, thank God Lizzo is opening that door. Because like, if she didn't, I don't know how we would grow as a like plus size community if we didn't have that to like go off on and feel celebrated. And when people go to Lizzo's concert, is mostly plus size women, but it's such a space that we just feel so safe. We know we're not going to run into any fat phobic individuals that are going to call us a sloppy fatty or whatever it may be. It's like like when we listen to her music, when we go to her concerts, it's one space where we don't feel like society fucking hates us.
Before I pass the mic, thank you so much for the super chat, George Cook. George says, as someone who has battled the weight problem all their life, I worry some of these trends regarding plus size is dangerous. We are enabling behavior that will ultimately kill these people before their time. That's another thing. Lifespan and obesity is frightening. I want to pass the mic to Glenn and Coco because you guys are fitness buffs. You both have competed. Glenn, plot twist, you used to be obese, but now you wear a hat that says no fat chicks. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I'm not attracted to fat chicks. Simple as that. Like that's just me, and to each is their own. You know, here's the thing about the health, and I'm going to talk about like the health standpoint because you know what people like is what people like. So just because I don't like a certain look doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't. So it's not my place to tell other people what they should like. That's for one. All right. But from a health standpoint, in 1970, the average weight for a woman, adult woman in America was 144. The average weight for an adult woman now is 176. What has happened in that span of time? Think about the foods that we eat, the things that we consume. Okay, they're not cooking home cooked meals so much anymore. Everything's kind of processed. Some degree is processed to something. The things that they're putting in the food, even if we do cook it, like in the chickens and everything, the preservatives are not working for us. Did you know, like back in 1970, there really wasn't this like epidemic of being gluten allergic to gluten? There wasn't a thing back then. So the things that they're putting in our food and the things that we're consuming has factored and played a role over time. The fact is that, like, you know, everybody should be active as they can be physically. You know, they don't have to look like a supermodel. Nobody's saying that everybody needs to look like a supermodel, but from a health standpoint, everybody should be able to be healthy, and they can be if they choose to. Here's the major thing is that a lot of people don't want to prioritize it. And that's the problem until it's too late.
Coco?
I mean, I agree from like what Lily said, that it's mainly, my concern is that it's a health risk. I understand because I do have some people in my family that can't lose weight, but I understand that it's a lot more difficult when people have health conditions that enable them to actually reach the goal that they would like to be, or to be at a healthier state in their life. I get that because that's a process. I mean, I always grew up small, but then when I hit puberty, I was like the biggest that I've ever been. Like, Glenn doesn't think that I was chubby, but for me, for my frame, for what I liked, I was chubby. I was like a size 6 and I was 160 pounds and I was all boobies and booty and thighs. And I wasn't comfortable with myself. But as I got older, I never understood, like I was really big into fitness. I started doing training. And for me, it was just, again, to each their own for what you're comfortable with, like how you feel beautiful in your own skin. So if you feel that you look your best in this size, then that's fine. You know, for me, it wasn't. But I don't think that people realize that they actually also could change and to be better. But there's a lot of things, like Glenn said, that they're sticking in our food. I didn't realize for the longest time, because I was like, I work out 6 days a week. I'm doing so much in cardio. I'm lifting every day. Like, because I wanted nothing more to compete, but I could not lose any weight. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Well, it would behoove everybody if they literally got an allergy test. I did not realize that I was struggling because I had apparently leaky gut syndrome, because I was eating foods that I was allergic to that I had no idea that I was severely allergic to. And the minute that I actually got that card and started eating from the foods that I'm approved to, just like there are some people that says eat for your blood type, and that really works for them and they feel healthy. Some people feel healthier when they're vegan. So it's finding the thing that works for you. But like, again, if somebody does not have a preference, like Glenn had said, he's not really big into big chicks. Well, then that's fine. That's his preference. But I don't like it when bigger girls are pushing it in people's faces, saying like, this is okay, this is okay. Well, that could be okay for you. But don't go around saying that the people that don't necessarily agree with that are fat shaming you, because that's not what that is. It's a preference. Just like I don't like big guys. I don't like overweight men. I never have. I take a lot of pride in my appearance. I want my man to match that with me. So that's where I have the beef with it. I don't think all women are lazy, but I think right now, the way that it's being pushed in our faces, that it's giving a lot of women excuses to not better themselves.
So let me jump in real quick, because Vivian had mentioned homophobia. What do you feel about that word homophobia? And what do you mean is being pushed in your faces? Because I also hear that about the LGBTQ community. People are constantly saying, well, you can be what you want, but don't push it in our face. What is that?
Oh, I said fat phobic.
Fat phobic. Sorry.
See, like I have an issue with that because, like, I saw that, okay, and they're like, this girl literally tried to on her TikTok try to equate guys not liking overweight chicks to racism, and it's like, are you serious? You're trying to say if I don't want to date you, if you're not my preference, I'm a racist or I'm fat phobic. So my preferences don't matter. Only yours does, right? Only I have to accept you for you and have to want to date you because you want it to be it's like if it's supposed to be equality. This is not a job. So I'm not handing out applications to take a job as my girlfriend. It's a choice. It's a preference. Like some people like black guys. Am I supposed to be mad at all the girls that like black guys? Be like, hey, you should date me too. Don't date just Haran. Try me out too. Like, is that what we're doing? Is this like affirmative action dating? You gotta date at least one person that's overweight, one black person, and definitely one white guy, but then no Asians. Like, is that what we're doing?
Okay, so let Vivian respond.
No, Glenn, I agree with you to a certain extent. I happen to think that preferences is just put on us through society and what standards societies feel are high. And we as a generation take those on and call them preferences. But if you're entitled to, if you don't like big girls, fat chicks, whatever, that's your preference. That's what you don't like. I think, and I just want to go back to something Coco said, fat shaming is only, and being fat phobic is only when you see a picture or you see someone in the street and you're calling them names and telling and basically treating them as if they're not human. Oh, like you shouldn't be here. You're not, like there's literally women that won't get into clubs because they're a bigger size. There's literally like someone can post up a picture in a swimsuit and people are constantly calling them fat. You should die. You should just die because you're just fat. Nobody will want you. That's what fat shaming is.
No, I go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The reason why you may see a lot of these fat girls on social media right now is because we are fighting against that type of fat phobic, that type of hatred. And also we're just fighting to have equality. Like there's certain places we go and we can't even sit down because the chair doesn't fit our size. And if there's 70% of women who are plus size, how come we can't sit in a chair and enjoy a nice evening out? If there's 70% of women that are plus size, how come we can't walk into a mall and buy a shirt or some jeans? We have to order it online. I think we're literally just fighting for equality and respect. So I think maybe when the girl was saying, well, you're fat phobic if you don't like fat women, maybe she's saying you're fat phobic if you don't respect or acknowledge a fat woman. You don't have to you don't have to give respect and acknowledgement to a woman only if you are physically attracted to them. And that's what a lot of men tend to do. That if you are not physically appeasing to their eye, they won't even look at you, won't open the door for you, won't give you a second thought, will literally look straight through you as if you're invisible. So that's what I think, when it comes to fat phobic and fat shaming, that's why you're seeing all this representation. We're literally just fighting for it. And if you don't like seeing it, don't comment. Just, you don't have to watch it.
I absolutely agree with you. That I believe would be a definition of fat shaming is where like if it's an open club and everybody should go in, but then they're discriminating at you because you're a certain size, that's wrong. Because my old best friend, she literally was a big girl. She was a big girl. I loved her to death and she was absolutely beautiful. I loved her. Did not care that she was a big girl. I loved going places with her. The thing is I'm saying that like Glenn, for example, yeah, he made a funny hat that says no fats, and then it has a little chicken in an egg. Like, that's all that it is. It's just a chick. That's all that it is. But then also people like, no, Sam was like, that's rude. I'm like, well, it's not because you have people that say that have Biden or Trump or whatever on their shirts. It's their preference. They're allowed to display whatever they want to display. He's not going to go up to you and be like, oh, you're fat, you're disgusting. He doesn't do that. He respects everybody as an individual. So that's where I'm saying that I have had people come up to me and then literally tell me that I needed to accept that the way that they choose to be big because they were giving Glenn crap at one point. And I was like, look, he doesn't have to find you attractive. Just because you find him attractive and he doesn't find you attractive doesn't mean that he's fat shaming. Like, you're just saying that because you're a skinny bitch. Well, then that's what, skinny shaming? Like, because I work very hard for what I do. I have a very disciplined diet. I have a goal. I'm trying to compete again this year. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, I understand what you're saying, but that's not always the context. People like in the avenue that you're in, I absolutely respect that because there's respect with what you're saying. But there are people, just like there are some women that take certain things and they try to use it to fit their own narrative, but then it ruins the movement. It ruins what you guys are trying to accomplish because they're just trying to make it fit their narrative, which makes it toxic.
So Coco, so you disagree with no saint in the chat, to be specific, said that Glenn's hat is rude. Glenn's hat says no fat chicks. Do you think that's not rude?
No,
because that's not like a political stance, like saying I'm Democratic or Republican. That's literally saying you don't like somebody because what they physically look like. You don't
it'd
think
be
that's
different
rude?
if his hat said, "I hate fat with little chicken." I would tell him, I was like, that's a little rude. When he made that, I was like, you don't think people are gonna get offended?
What did I
And
say?
he was
I said,
like,
yep.
he's like, no, he's like, but I don't care. He's like, it's
I don't
it's
care. I mean, I
exactly.
can't concern myself with what I could wear a shirt that, there's people that wear like Jesus shirts and people get offended. There's people that wear Satan shirts and I'm not going to concern myself with who is going to be offended with what I say and what I do, unless that person means something to me. Joe Blow down the street, I really don't care about Joe Blow. Joe Blow's nobody to me. I'm nobody to Joe Blow. So I'm not going to concern myself with it. But here's the thing. When I said no fat chicks, one, that's me. And I'm not telling everybody that. I'm not telling you not to get with somebody like that. I have women that are overweight in my own family. I don't shame them either. My thing is, this is the issue when I made that hat. I did it on purpose because when I see these things go way overboard, because we live in the country, we just have this pendulum that just swings. We go from one extreme to the other. All right. It was super extreme. Every girl had to be like, what was her name? Like the skinny rail chick back in the 20s or something like that. Forgot her name. Like
Twiggy.
Yeah. They had to be her. Everybody had to be on coke or something to get that skinny. That was the push, right? And then the pendulum swung this way, and for a minute it was good. There was its moment that we had. I think it was in like the 90s and 80s. I think it was that there was women that were not super skinny, but they weren't overweight. There was just this happy medium. But now the pendulum is swinging the opposite way, and then it's like, okay, so why do we have overweight women on a Sports Illustrated magazine? The magazine's about sports and health. And then now for what? Just acceptance? It's like, you don't have to be accepted everywhere.
There's sometimes women that play sports.
I'm saying that they're not health. They're not the definition of health. So, I mean,
wait. Can we tackle that? Because you can't assume somebody's health.
I'm not assuming anything. I can go by body mass index. I can do a BMI. I can tell you what your body fat percentage is supposed to be based off your height and weight. So, I mean, that's science.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that just because if a plus size person is doing sports, then why can't they be on Sports Illustrated? Because you say that they're not
the
healthy
definition of health or fitness. Because they're not the definition of being healthy or fitness.
They're not your definition.
No, they're not the definition. I don't make the definition. I haven't written any definition.
There's a plus size ballet dancer that dances all the time, have concerts and everything.
That's fine. That still doesn't say that she's the definition of fitness.
Oh, you're saying that Sports Illustrated is like you have to be the definition of fitness.
Well, it's representing that. It's supposed to say, look, they have a standard. Fitness people are healthy. They have all the damn body mass index sheets. They have all these diet, they have all these workouts, how to get down to 4% body fat. They do all this stuff to coach you to do that. They give you all this information to support you to do that. So that's what they're promoting.
Well, I don't know,
When they
Glenn,
do
because
that,
Kevin,
and they do an oxymoron. It's like, well, what was that for? What purpose did that do? What was it? What was it? So you did it just to get PR points? Was it just to be, to say you're inclusive? Well, that's great, cool. But what did that do? It didn't do anything beneficial, because now people could say, oh, I don't have to work out, or I don't have to be like that to be in a magazine cover on Sports
But
Illustrated.
these people do work out. That's the thing.
But
You're
I'm saying they don't
that
have to
they
put in the
work
work
out.
I just want to say something real quick. Obesity in the Black community is a serious issue. You know what I mean? Obesity in America is a serious issue, but I'm really speaking towards Black people and Black women, and you know what I mean, particularly. You know, the data does say that. Now genetics can play a part, but I will contend that at the end of the day, a lot of people just don't know how to eat. They don't understand what a diet should consist of. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I usually ask people when they're having struggles with their metabolism, I usually ask them, how much water do they drink? Because the fat burning process begins with hydrolysis. And this is a fact. Most people walk around dehydrated half the time. And dehydration basically, you know what I mean, walks hand in hand with obesity, because your metabolism can't move and you're just shoving food in your mouth. And another thing is, too, you might say, well, I don't eat that much. Okay, what do you drink? Do you drink a lot of juice? You might drink all of your calories. Now, if you made minor tweaks, such as if you drank more water, if you had more healthier options, and you were still having issues, and you upped your cardio, you were still having issues, then maybe yes, you probably have a medical condition. Maybe you have something wrong with your thyroid. There's medication that you should actually take to
So
assist
let
you.
me jump in. Long story short, are you saying that in the Black community specifically, women are obese or overweight or plus size due to choice? Just simple choice.
I believe a lot of them, it's a mixture of choice and ignorance and not knowing certain things. I don't think
Okay.
I don't the
Well, what do
math
you think
the
the difference is
mathematics
between Black
the
men and Black
mathematics
women?
of them being the mathematics of anyone not being able to lose a pound of weight no matter what is slim to none. A lot of people like to cling to that. No, it's, you know what I mean, for you to really have a medical condition where you can't lose a pound of weight, where you have to take drugs, that is slim to none. If people actually really took the discipline and took the time and made the choices and really put in the work, I'm not saying that they'll be able to lose weight at the same degree as, you know what I mean, every other one of their other counterparts, but their bodies can change. Another thing too, if you're eating less, the only thing you do is slowing down your metabolism. So again, a lot of people don't know how to eat. They don't know how to eat. They don't know what to drink. And they don't know all these other things. Now, this is where Big Pharma and the media comes in. They shove fucking, you know what I mean, hot Cheetos down your throat. They supersize shit. They give you all the stuff really you shouldn't be consuming. You know what I mean? Because and you eat it anyway. Why? Because, well, like I said, you don't know how to eat.
So let me acknowledge the super chat, and I have a question for Vivian and then the rest of the panel. House of Matrix, thank you for the super chat. House of Matrix says he just dropped a jewel. You don't have to be accepted everywhere, which is a great segue for my next question, because I do have a plus size influencer, a picture of a plus size influencer on Instagram. And I want to go back to something Vivian said. This is Stella Williams on Instagram. She does different fashion. She does, I guess, reaction videos to clothes that she orders, right? So Vivian, when you say, like, you know, if you don't like something, right? Because I mean, our grandmothers all told us, look, if you don't like it, don't be around it. If you don't like somebody, don't be around it. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So my question, Vivian, do you think that it's realistic that these women are on public platforms and they shouldn't they shouldn't be critiqued. Let's say if somebody doesn't like how they look, should they just scroll away, or is it their right because they're on a public platform to say something like you would say something about anything else? Because it's also been said that plus size women want to they want the platform, they don't want the feedback. They want to be in that bikini and they want to expose themselves in that bikini, but then they don't want the feedback of people saying that they don't like it. So you think it's realistic to say, well, just scroll away if you don't like it, specifically on social media?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, you're on a public platform. People are going to say whatever they want to say. But I feel like we know it's always just going to be about our weight. Like, we know it's just about our fat. It's not our personality, it's not where our house or what clothes we're wearing or whatever. It's just going to be about something that we can't change in an instant. And I just want to say, a lot of women, our bodies go through so many different stages. Our hormones can be out of whack. We get pregnant and we go through different stages, right? It might be a stage where you're going to be overweight. And when you're overweight, should you just lock yourself inside? Should you not go out? Should you not wear a dress that makes you feel sexy? Should you not go and try to date? Like, these are the things that I think ultimately we just want to push, is that we just want to live. We don't want to, like, a lot of us plus size women have weight loss goals. That does not mean we don't want to lose weight. Like, it does not mean we don't want to be healthier. And it also doesn't mean that we're not already healthy. It depends on the person and on their health. Health is such a personal issue. You can't just look at someone and be like, they're overweight, they stuff their face. So that can be totally untrue. So I think that it just comes down to, like, we know everyone's going to say, close your mouth, fatty, and those constant threats can be sometimes detrimental to someone's mental health. But if you are on a public platform and you're fighting against this, like, fat phobic society, yeah, you have to be prepared and take those hits because you know you're going to get them.
Okay. Don Levant said earlier, there's no such thing as
Oh, sorry.
a phobia. I forgot what he said, something about a phobia. But anyway, I do want to move on. Glenn, I want to ask you, you're like, for instance, the plus size
Oh,
model
can I say something,
cover.
Jen? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I didn't want to speak about it because I am plus size. So even and I have children. So I understand how your body can't change and we go through hormone. But in the same breath, I do agree, like you're saying, you saying you can't lose weight and all this. I think not just not you personally, but people who say that, I think it is a lot of just not knowing what to eat, how your body reacts to certain food, and being more educated about that. I know everyone's kind of saying that, and I've been a person who just, like I said, I've had children, I've gone through things, and I was known for being very, very small. And I actually didn't feel comfortable being very, very small. I always wanted to be a little thicker. There's a healthy way to even be thicker. As Glenn would know, you can be a sick woman and be in shape. And I don't want the assumption that just because you're saying, I feel it. I know because I've done a drastic, and I'm not saying that I'm not 127 pounds. I am 248 pounds. Maybe I lost a little bit here, there, 244, I think, last time I checked. But I'm actually very big, but I appear way smaller. But I can feel the difference in who I am now, even from just 10 pounds. You can tell the difference. And for someone to say that I'm healthy, I would say that's a lie. I can go to the gym right now and I can squat like 225 because I have really strong legs. But I just have really strong legs. I'm still unhealthy. I can feel it. Yeah, I feel it. So for me to know that I know it, I don't want women to get in a cycle too, to think that, okay, I'm big, but I eat all this fruit and I'm trying to eat better and nothing's really happening. Let's change it up. Let's get a little bit more educated if you want. But saying being big is healthy, or that just my knees hurt, ma'am. There is no way that you carrying that weight is going to feel good. It's just not realistic. But I mean, I'm not trying to say I want to get really, really small, but I'm saying that I need to be healthy. It's just science. Basically,
And
you
you know
holding
what?
that much weight on your heart, it does stuff over time.
And you're right, because there's a
Sorry.
thing.
Go
There's
ahead.
food. I saw somebody say like you can't lose weight if you don't go to the gym. Don Lemon, in theory, you would think that's true. But let me tell you something. As a competitor, 90% is in the food. It's all in your kitchen. Okay, 90% of you getting in shape or getting to the shape you want has everything to do with what you consume.
Mm-hmm.
It has less to do with, I don't even run. I never run. Okay, like I don't run at all. I'll run if the cops come behind me, but that's about it. That's the only time I'm running. I don't do cardio like that. It's your diet. Really, that's 90% of it is all your diet. And there's a lot of different diets out there. And here's the thing: don't do diets. Don't do diet plans. I'll tell you guys right now: don't do diet plans. Okay, do a lifestyle change. You're choosing to change the way your eating habits are. You're going to choose to change the way that you see food and how your relationship with food. A lot of people that have depression, like either they go from one extreme to the other. Either they just won't eat, or they'll just gorge, right? And you have to understand that some people have this emotional connection with food that it tends to be a bad habit, because your emotions change, your emotions shift. You could be happy one minute, then depressed, and then happy, then depressed. And if you base off your eating habits based off of your emotions, if you're an emotional eater, that's not going to be good for you. Okay, it's going to cause an influx. So, it's important for those that want to be healthy and want to eat healthy. I don't ever expect everybody or should tell everybody they should be a bodybuilder or they should be as small as a bikini competitor. Because
And so let me ask you a question. Earlier you spoke about the woman on the Sports Illustrated cover, and people complain about, hey, we don't need to see them on posters, we don't need to see them on billboards, we don't need to see them on the cover of Sports Illustrated. What's it to you? Why do you care?
My thing is, this is a sports fitness. Okay, they go hand in hand. They're about looking good, not just appealing, but I'm talking about physically, muscular, defined. That's our definition. Okay, that's always been the definition of healthy.
No, I get what sports means and all of that. And what aesthetically, what it means.
To me,
what does it mean? Why do you care? What does it mean? What
the issue
what would
is
happen? What's the worst case scenario?
The issue is like when we start accepting things just to make people feel good, then we're concerned more about feelings than what is real. And when we start doing that, that's when people start getting misled. That's why we have the issues that we have now. Guys think since they feel a certain way, they can move a certain way. Women think they feel a certain way, they should be able to do a certain things. And it's like, forget your feelings, put your feelings in check and ask yourself what is real.
But you're saying accept they're 70%, right, Vivian?
Yeah.
70%. So it's not about
that's today though.
Accepting things but I know I'm talking about what is though. Like so when you say accepting things, it's already here. It's 70% of women. So
yeah, but just
it's already here. So
does that mean that should be? Should we
no,
go to 80%?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't you think that that's the I know, but don't you think that 70% that's the norm then?
No, it's not the norm. The norm is what the norm for now, maybe, but
that's factually it's the norm. Like factually, it's the norm, right?
Yes.
We're the abnormal ones now. If it's 70%, then we're the abnormal ones right now.
And you look over the span of history, it's never been the norm. So it's just because it's accepted or the norm now doesn't mean we have to accept it. Doesn't mean like if everybody was getting an F, if we were all in class, we're in school and we all got Fs, why we should all be getting A's. That should be considered an A because we all got it. That's the norm, right?
But Glenn, this is the issue I'm having is like the representation issue is because if our American society reflects 70% of women to be overweight, then they deserve to have representation just like every other part of an American society.
So that means you're saying that we should change the standards of something just because other people don't meet the standards anymore? Then what's the point of having standards?
But it's not other people, it's 70%.
No, but
yeah, that's the overwhelming majority.
I think there's
the standards of fitness was this. And then to have to change the standards because people can't reach the bar no more. No, how about you expect people to reach the bar? Or if they want to be on a cover of a sports magazine, they should reach the bar or the expectations of that bar to be on that magazine.
Oh, wait 1 second. I'll just give a little bit of pushback, and so I can fully, explain what's going on and my own personal issues with the fitness world. Now, George Cook asked, he says, Jen, you look really good. What does your typical diet look like? And I'm asking for reference points for this discussion. Do you know your body fat percentage? Sir, let's just say Jen, Glenn, Coco, myself.
Jen needs body fat.
People, we're talking about people who have the genetics to look a particular way in the gym. Now for me personally, the bulking phase, I enjoy the bulking phase because it's easy as fuck for me to, gain muscle, so on and so forth. It's a fucking bitch when it's time for the cutting phase for me. Why? Because my body, I'm an endomorph with a little bit of a mesomorph, meaning that it's real easy for me to gain muscle because it's real easy for me to gain fat. Now, I don't have the metabolism that Jen has. I would really hope I had it for at least 5 days, but I don't have the metabolism that she has. She can't gain weight like that. She sneezes and loses fucking 5 pounds.
I have a real bad diet.
I wish my shit was like that. I wish I could have her diet and I sneeze and lose 5 pounds. But anyway, the point I'm making is this. Here's the problem. I understand the argument coming from the side of the 70%. The people that were on the cover, always on the cover, always, put on stage because they weren't the norm. Arnold Schwarzenegger was not the norm. Cindy Crawford was not the norm. Iman was not the norm. These people were not the norm. That's the reason why they were put on stage. Now, with the advent of social media and people having a voice and so on and so forth, the average person has a louder voice. And the average person now wants to be seen. And the average person is demanding to be seen. Look, listen, I just moved and I'm having a fucking hard-ass fucking time finding a gym for myself. The closest gym to me is fucking Planet Fitness. I'm like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And if you know anything about Planet Fitness, it's not for guys like me and Glenn.
No, it's not.
You know what I'm saying? These people have fucking, they got pizza day.
Okay, now, before we veer off to gyms and gym memberships, let's bring it back. Do you think that there's some misogyny behind women being obese? Because Prince Fielder is an obese man. He was on the cover naked of ESPN. There was not a backlash. There was not an uproar of men saying, why is he on there? No, there wasn't. Not like the Sports Illustrated model that was on the cover. Do you think there's some misogyny behind what women are supposed to look like? Like Glenn just, shot at me. Jen needs more fat, right? Like, it's like, who the fuck do you think you are, Glenn? I'm not your woman. Your woman is on the panel.
I was joking with you.
I know you're joking. Glenn, work with me. Follow me, Daryl. You're an actor.
What he said, I didn't know that.
Glenn, you're an actor. Come with me, damn it. Come on. I prepped us for this.
We're just arguing. Arguing with everybody today.
So again, back to the question. Do you think that there's some misogyny behind, the whole, I don't like fat chicks, women should be this weight, women should be that weight, women should have big tits, women should have big asses, women should have little waist?
Before you use that word, can we just get the definition correct?
Of?
Misogyny. If we're going to say misogyny, I think we need to get the definition correct.
Okay.
What's the definition of misogyny?
Do you want me to Google the exact definition?
It's the hatred of women. Okay. So if just not liking someone because of a look.
Well, it doesn't say hate. It says strongly prejudiced against women.
Okay. So if it's strongly prejudiced against women, we can't say it's misogyny because that means they're not they're strongly preference against the women that they don't find attractive. Not all women, right? Because if they just don't like the girl in the magazine, they're only not liking the ones that they don't find attractive. So that's not misogyny.
That was a nice skate out. That was a
He
nice
tried
skate
it. I
out.
caught that. He tried it. But I'm like, nah,
I see
Glenn,
the
I'm not gonna
skates,
go.
Glenny Benny.
I got no skates on. I got no shoes.
I just want to say I don't see a lot of fat women actually lusting after fat men though. They usually lust.
I don't
after
see
very
any
in
skinny
shape
women
men.
lusting after fat men either.
You heard me talk about my chubby chasing ways.
No,
Don't
no, no.
go
What's
there.
define chubby
Hey, you're
chick?
an
Wait,
anomaly.
Define
You're an
that.
anomaly.
Define that though. Are we talking 5 pounds, 10 pounds overweight?
No, overweight. Like I think I don't know. I just
Like
have like a
Biggie
chubby
Smalls?
chasing. Well, no, I have it has to be proportion. It has to be proportion. You know, for me,
Okay.
yeah. But it's still big guy. Like, yeah. But it's just proportion. That's just. But they don't want me, so don't even.
I would like to bring up a point though, like you know, the size 2 model has always been on covers and on posters and what have you, and there's always been a resounding "eat a burger, bitch. You're skinny. You're this, that, and the third," right? And we rolled with the punches. Monique the comedian made an entire career talking about skinny bitches, and it was hilarious. Everybody thought it was funny. I've always been the butt of a joke. I've always been small. Culturally, I'm very small. Culturally, I'm Puerto Rican. So if you don't have the arroz con pollo thighs and the big booty and the big tits, something's wrong with you. Are you sick? What's the matter? Can we help you? And I'm like, no, this is how I am. We've been hearing that forever. Do you think there's a little hypocrisy going on now where it's like, the plus size models are like, hey, we don't want to get treated like that. Meanwhile, hey, I've always gotten treated like that. Welcome to the club, girl. What do you think about that? Before we move on.
You know, I'm going to tell you, Jen, I'm with you on that. I've always been skinny my entire life. Like, I'm talking about super, like, sickly looking skinny. My brother and I, right? This was every single day. And by the time I became a teenager, I would tell people, you know, if someone was overweight versus me who is super skinny, I don't think that they'll hear it every 5 minutes from family, strangers, peers, teachers. Like, this is every day, all day, to the point where I had like a crazy skinny phobia, like for myself. Like, I used to overeat to try to gain weight, couldn't do it. Just because I was always being told how skinny I was and eat a burger and when I like my mother, she used to always, you must not be feeding them kids and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, all of that. It was just, this was.
So is it just a welcome to the club type of thing where it's like, we never used the word skinny shaming. You're skinny shaming me.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
You're skinny phobic.
No.
Yeah, we didn't have that language.
I think it was looked at different. I
was going to say that too. Yeah, because I was really small.
I was like that growing up the whole entire time. My parents used to be like, eat some food. And I'm like, you see me at the dinner table, I eat food. But I was always a twig. Like, I had to have stupid elastic waistband pants until I was a freshman in high school because I was so small. And then, you know, I know it was embarrassing. I hated wearing clothes. I hated it. So would
you say plus size models need to grow thicker skin?
I think people need to grow thicker skin in general.
I think
maybe a little bit. Like, I think people are real sensitive right now in this atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. What?
Okay.
I just think people are being too sensitive is what it is. Like, if I could take it and it made me tougher, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to try to work on being not so skinny, and I'm just going to be strong. And that was my goal. I always just wanted to be stronger. I just wanted to look stronger. So
can I just say one thing?
Yes, please.
One,
I mean, I don't.
Plus size people who are overweight, they hear it all the time. If, like you said, like you were growing up, and they constantly telling you you're skinny. We heard that all the time. It's just the opposite. That's what body positivity is about. It's about no matter what your body is, you're being positive to it. Even if you want it to change, even if you want to gain weight or lose weight, is just having more of a positive look at your body than being negative. I was 8 years old when my grandfather gave me like a quarter or a dollar and told me to buy a lock and put it on the refrigerator door. 8 years old. And so those things make women suicidal. Those things. So it's like, yeah, maybe we're just being sensitive, or maybe we're finding our voice and we're teaching people how to respect us and how to treat us as women. Because I think even other women are taken on by this misogyny of the standards and what you should be. And it's not, I want to make it clear, I'm not promoting obesity, or I'm not promoting, like, if you're not healthy, that's all right, girl, that's all right, just go ahead and do you. I am promoting the state that you're in now. It is okay to still be respected and still live your best life until you get to the place where you want to be, whether that's losing weight or gaining weight. There are women who work out constantly and they're big. Should they not, show their workouts? Should they not encourage other women to work out with them so that they can have a better lifestyle, even if they're plus size? Because they're plus size, should they just hide in a closet? Like, so I don't want you guys, like, I understand that it comes both ways. Like, when you're really skinny, people talk about you. When you're really big, people talk about you. When you're really light, people talk about you. When you're really dark, people talk about you. It's just, but I think it's just, we're coming to this woke culture, and we're just like talking about all these issues, and people could say it's sensitive, but I think it's just us like having a voice. I don't know.
Okay. No, that is true. I'm all for it. Okay, so panel, please check the private chat really quickly, and then I'm going to get into this next topic. These are the conversations. I said the conversations would be tough tonight. Please chat. Push back if you have to. Let me know what you think about the opinions of the panel, what you think about them. Let me know in the chat what you think about the panel and what you think about them. I just dropped the StreamYard link. All the people that were climbing over each other like a bunch of little crabs because they wanted to cam up, the link is down. Okay. Okay. All right, panel, I see ya. Okay, guys, so whoever's going to cam up has to do it quickly because now we're pressed for time. We went over the 2-hour mark. Please try to keep your comments and questions short because my panel is pressed for time, and I did tell them I wasn't going to go over 2 hours. So whatever you have to say, get to it. Do not be redundant. Get in and get out so we can get on out. I did plan for the last hour to be more involvement with the chat, but we went over. The studio's full. Sorry, guys. Whoever's trying to get in, my bad. So sorry. I already have the studio's full. All right. So the last topic that we're going to tackle, and then I'll bring people up, is now I'm going to say the topic, but as I bring you guys up from backstage, you can address what we've spoken about so far. The last topic of the night is going to be, are LGBTQIA rights oppressive to heterosexual people? With that, I will bring up Glenn Lawrence again. Rod, how are you? Haven't seen you in a minute. Damien, how are you? George, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have said a lot tonight, and we survived it. We're surviving. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I tried to stir some shit up, but, Glenn wanted to be my friend. All right.
For once.
For once, right? All right, guys, welcome to the panel. Good to see you. Our last topic of the night, and we're going to do this again. Okay, we're going to do this again in the future, but my panel is pressed for time, and I appreciate everybody's time. Are LGBTQIA rights oppressive to heterosexual people? Before anyone answers that, people that just joined the panel, what would you say about what you've heard so far?
If I could just real quick, and I'll make a few points, and then I'll hop off so somebody can get on.
Okay.
Like I was saying earlier in the chat, as a as a dude who has battled a weight problem all my life. Chrissy, first of all, I want to thank you for being on the panel and putting yourself out here like that. And it took a lot of guts. What I'm going to speak to is the natural. I think there's a natural inherent for people to not want to associate with fat people. I'll give you this real quick example. About 20 years ago, I dropped about 130 pounds in a year. And so halfway through that weight loss journey, I go into Wilson's Leather because I wanted a leather jacket. I go into Wilson's Leather, and the attendant at the store basically
Is somebody breathing? I'm sorry. Is somebody breathing into the mic? Sound like somebody's doing squats or something. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, George.
Yeah, and so I go into Wilson's Leather, looking around. I spent like 5-10 minutes walking around the store. She acted like she did not want to have anything to do with me. And I go up, I had to go to the counter and say, hey, I'm looking for a jacket and so on. And she says, well, it's all the way down there. You can go find it down there. Not walk me down there, but going down there. Okay. So anyway, I wind up leaving the store. And as it turns out, ironically, 6 months later, I go back to the same store, and it happens to be the same attendant. Now, it could have been, I'll chalk it up to this. It could have just, she had a bad night. But I walk in, I'm 5'8", 180 pounds. I am like really ripped at that point. And I walk in, and guess what? I got the white glove treatment. So my point is, Chrissy, it is subconscious. It's embedded in the culture. I understand what you're talking about with the self-respect. I just think that we got to be really careful about glorifying and by indirectly, maybe we unintended consequences of perpetuating an epidemic that is, it's killing people. I mean, and so I know for myself, I got to get my weight off, and I'm working on that right now, but it's tough. So, okay. Thanks, Jen. Thanks everybody. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, George. Thank you so much, George. Okay. No Saint, I guess you can come up. There's a spot open. Damien and Rod, welcome. Glenn Lawrence has posted a picture of his older obese self. Thanks for sharing, Glenn. You've come a long way, darling. Damien, how are you? What say you, sir? We said a lot tonight.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I'm just curious. I want to ask Vivian. Vivian, is the body positivity movement, because mostly focused around being positive toward female bodies or just overweight bodies in general? Because for my understanding, what I'm seeing just out there in the media is that it's all geared toward accepting women who are of a certain weight and not judging or stigma and empowering them, what have you. But I don't know. It's hard because in most cases, a fat dude is just a fat dude. It's no body positivity. It's no accept him as he is, and what, because big women don't even like fat dudes. You ask a big woman, who do you find them attractive? I think it was like 70% of don't find big men attractive. So I feel like there is kind of a double standard there. I'm seeing. So, what is the male role in the movement outside of just accepting bigger women? Because it just seems like I'm always running into that double standard. I never could square it. It never squared with me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is a double standard. Body positivity doesn't hit with bigger men, and it should, but it focuses on non-binary men, or I would say gay men or queer men. And they kind of, that is when I see body positivity, and I see a representation of bigger men is in kind of like the queer world. I don't see it with like straight Black men. I sometimes see it with white men, but yeah, it's definitely a double standard. Body positivity it's supposed to be, it was geared towards a woman who had a sister that had a disability. And it was supposed to be for like even bodies that are not able-bodied, big women, skin conditions, whatever it may be. That's what body positive movement was supposed to be. And then it kind of moved into like the plus size community. And then the plus size community ran with it. And then it was like even smaller women that like had like little roles or called themselves mid-size. And then they were going with the body positive movement. And like a lot of bigger women didn't like that. So it kind of goes into a whole circle of like fat liberation and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, absolutely, there is a double standard. Men are not a part of that, and they should be. But the only reason why they're not is because I feel like it's not a huge push for them. Because I don't see a lot of men going on their social medias and being like, hey, look at me, look at my outfit. You know, I went to the big and tall store and did like, I don't see a lot of that. It is out there, but it's not out there as women put it out there. I do have a male friend that is in the body positive movement. He talks about fat travel and he talks about where he gets his clothes and what to do for like fat hacks, but it's very, very, very limited. And that's something that needs to change.
You know what I think I disagree with that, but I'm gonna tell you why. I agree, but I disagree. There are a lot of straight men doing it as well. The thing is, the reason why it's not as big is because of the misogyny, right? And what I mean by that is when a plus size woman does it, it gets reshared, reposted, stitched with a bunch of negativity attached to it, which makes it go further. So I would say there are a lot of men doing it. It just doesn't get liked, retweeted, reshared, stitched, and all of that stuff with the negativity attached, because we all know your haters are also your PR team, right? And so there's a lot, there's a lot of hate toward plus size women, more so than plus size men. They're more so accepted, and they just leave them alone.
No, plus size men are not accepted. Let me just say that they're not accepted.
Can I say this up really quickly? No Saint, you could come up now to his room because George dropped down. No Saint, so you can come up. Also, Damon, I don't get your question when you asked Vivian, isn't there a double standard? Why don't fat men just jump up and yell from the top of their lungs and pat their man boobs and say, we are fat, we're here, you know what I mean, hear us roar like the women are doing? How is it a double standard if it's just men are being quiet about it? Be fat, be happy, be proud.
Well, that's the expectation.
No one's stopping them. No one's stopping them.
That's the expectation. It's just like, just be fat, shut up and be fat, do something about it.
No. I said be fat, be happy, and be proud. In other words, put it out there like the women are putting it out there. A double standard, no one's stopping the men is what I'm saying. No one's stopping the men from being as loud and proud as the women are. That's what I meant.
I think it goes back to what Lily said, is that it's that they are doing it, but it's not getting reshared and it's not getting the hype that it's supposed to get. Because also, you guys might disagree, but I feel like there's a lot of closeted men that love fat women. And so they love to look at them. They love to, on the social media. Now, they won't bring a fat woman home to meet mama, but they'll love to like sexualize them and want to talk to them, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's why it is kind of a double standard, because if I post up a picture and then another plus size man posts up a picture, I'm going to get men that just want to look at me. I'm going to get women that are going to support me. And I'm going to even get straight size women that are like, oh, I love your look or whatever. But plus size men, they may not get it. Like I think Glenn said, there's a lot of women that don't like plus size men. I'm not one of them. I like all men. I don't have any like preferences. If I like you, I like you, but I do realize that there is a lot of plus size women that do not like plus size men. So maybe
let me say this, like the top 5% of guys, okay, like I did a study on this hookup culture thing, it's like the only guys that are in the hookup culture are like the top 5% of guys, period. And none of them are fat. Okay, none of them are fat guys. So all women, or typically they say all women want the top 20% of guys. That means even the girls that are overweight want the top 20% of guys. Nobody's wanting a fat guy. A fat guy has nothing. You know why the fat guy doesn't say anything? The reason why the fat guy doesn't complain about it is because he knows he has some work to do. It goes
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to him. I either got to
Yeah.
change my diet. I got to go get my hormones checked. I got to go talk to the doctor. I could do things to improve my current position. And I can't complain about it because I know I have the power to do it. I'm expected to do it for myself. That's men. Nobody's going to do the gym for you.
Or if that's the case, he has to be expected to accept it and live in that truth that you are just going to be a fat dude that you probably are not going to get a lot to, or you got to make a lot of money.
Exactly.
Could I chime in here?
You got to get rich.
Sure, Rod. Go ahead.
All right, thanks. I can tell you, everything in life happens for a reason. In 2016, I've never been fat all my life. Always been fit, always been athletic. 2016, I was dealing with stress. Had a business, I was successful, and after a year, it failed. Long story short, took a toll on me psychologically. I gained 80 pounds in a year and a half. Now, keep in mind, I was still exercising because I was dealing with stress and anxiety. I didn't want to turn to anything other than food to cope, right? And that's what I
Mute your
did.
mics, guys, because it sounds like he's talking in a cup. Everybody mute your mics. Go ahead, Rod.
All right. So in 2016, I gained 80 pounds in a year and a half due to stress and anxiety from my business. Long story short, I've always exercised, but I turned to food to cope. Now, about 2020, when the pandemic hit, I would say over the last year, I just made a decision, to do everything in my power to detox physically as well as mentally. I don't eat out. I cook my meals at home. I was able to lose 50 pounds in 6 months. Now, I'll tell you what I did. I'm going to be very open with you guys and be very honest. My legs were killing me. My back was killing me. Weighed 270 pounds. So I'm now on track to get to about 190 pounds. Keep in mind, I'm in my early 40s. You probably wouldn't even guess that, right? What do I
Rod,
look
what's your
like?
height and weight?
I'm almost 6 feet tall, currently about 220, 225 pounds.
So you're probably about like what, 17%?
I don't know why. I'll be very honest with you. I work out 6 days a week. I don't test my body fat because I'm very
Yeah.
muscular.
Yeah. I can see it
Okay.
like in your neck. You're probably like an 18-inch neck, right?
Yeah, I haven't measured it. I got a little bit of fat
We're
to my
not doing
neck.
suits. Rod, get back to the story. We're
No,
in
well,
the
I'm saying
custom
like
suits now.
Back to my story.
195 might be too. I wouldn't probably want to drop that low. Just
Well,
me.
no. Actually, to be honest, 200, I'd say about 200 pounds.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'd like to get to 190, so that way if I get to 190, I have the body I had when I was 25 years old. Keep in mind, I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
So let me say
like
this.
the guy in the chat, Thor, RP Thor, he's a friend of mine. He's in his 60s and shredded. And
Okay.
he puts in the work, and
Right.
he does hormones. So like may want to reach out to him later on, like because he could get your hormones checked. Because that's another thing. A lot of guys
No, I
don't
did
think
that.
that
I
about
got
their
my
hormones.
testosterone. So I got everything checked. So
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
I also I definitely agree with you. I got my testosterone levels checked and it's above average.
Oh, good.
I had everything checked. So everything is good. I just had a detox. You got on like, so there's a few things to keep in mind. So let me get back to what Jen mentioned earlier. So I'll tell you my story really briefly and then I'll get to the post results. So I would be very honest with you guys. I've never been fat all my life, but I was dealing with stress, mild depression I had a very successful business. It took a toll on me. Some people in my shoes probably would have turned to drugs and alcohol, or who knows what they would have turned to. It's irrelevant. I just kept eating myself to death, even though I was working out 5 days a week. So I live in Chicago, so the pizza here it's excellent. So I'd order, large pizza, eat it by myself. Those are coping strategies. Now, Chicago pizza is incredible. Now, I will say this to you. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. When I was fat, 270 pounds, I wouldn't even date a fat woman. Do you know why? And I'm
Right.
not trying to be sarcastic because I don't approve of the lifestyle. It's an unhealthy lifestyle to turn to. Well, let me just elaborate and then you guys will understand my position. I started hanging out with a buddy of mine who's obese, really good friend of mine. We'd go out to eat. I would eat one meal, he would eat two meals. Now, keep in mind, I still exercised, but my goal was to get to an ideal weight. Being around a certain environment or a certain person that eats unhealthy, you will subconsciously start to accept their, you'll start making excuses when you go out with them. I'm going to tell you my personal experience. I'll start making excuses. Well, I work out 5, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. I can eat 2 meals with this guy. But the reality of it is, I didn't want to eat 2 meals, right? So I'd go out, eat 1 meal, he'd eat two. And I'm like, what am I doing with this guy? I'm trying to improve myself from a health perspective. And I'm hanging out with people that have an unhealthy lifestyle. People that eat like, and I asked him, I said, why are you eating 2 meals? Are you that hungry? Well, the reality of it is the foods that we're eating. I mean, if we look at the statistics, and I know the stats, the mid 90s, 80% of our food was natural, organic. When Clinton passed an executive order, I believe it was, it switched over from natural and organic or to genetically modified foods. Today, it's 90% genetically modified. So, why is that important? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I eat organic. So, I would say 90% of what is it expensive? I don't think so. I'm going to tell you why. Whatever you define as expensive, it may cost you 3 to 4, $500 a month if you cook your own meals that are organic. Let's do the math. If you ate out 1 meal, it cost you 15, 20 plus. So the reality of it is you can do it. It's going to require willpower and discipline. So I'm on track to get to 190, 200 pounds. I'll be there by summertime. But keep in mind, you know, it was a lot of work. It was willpower, it was discipline, and I limit my interaction with people that are unhealthy. But I will say this, and I will leave it at that. I empathize with people on the panel who are struggling with their weight, and I get where they're coming from. So I think it's, I'll tell you from my personal experience, I will never go to being fat again. And I'm not saying to be, I'm not fat phobic, but it's caused a lot of pain. I'm in my 40s. It's caused pain on my back, my legs, my joints. An unhealthy lifestyle and being obese or fat, there's no justification. I don't want to say justification. You can't state that being overweight is any way gonna benefit you positively whatsoever. So from that, I would say it from that angle. On the other side of it, I do empathize with you, but I could say a lot of people have lost the weight. It's going to take a changing of your mind, willpower, discipline, and I swear to you, once you get to an ideal weight, you'll never want to go back to being fat.
So Rod, let me jump in here real quick. You're a little long-winded, buddy.
I'm
But
sorry.
let me just jump in here and give you some pushback. Plus size influencers are making a lot of money. That's a positive, right? They are getting a lot of recognition. They're getting hired more places. So it's not like back in the day.
Well,
And
I
now,
you keep in
can
mind
I
a
say
good
something?
percentage.
Yes,
Good.
please, Vivian.
I just want to say, I think, Rod, I understand everything that you're saying, but I think what I get offended by is that because you see a plus size, when you said I wouldn't date a plus size woman, that's fine. You don't have to date us. But for you to say that person has an unhealthy lifestyle because they're shoving their face with food, a lot of plus size women don't eat enough, and that's why their metabolism is slow. And it may not be that they're shoving cookies and donuts in their mouth. It may be because they're working, a 12-hour shift at the hospital and then coming home and taking care of a loved one. So I just don't want that whole, like, you see a overweight person and immediately think they're don't care about their health, they're lazy, because that's not the case. Just like you had experience, and that's what caused you to put on the weight. A lot of individuals who are overweight have traumatic experiences in their life, and they've taken the addiction of food as opposed to drugs or alcohol. Is now it's a more of a like you said, it's mental, but it kind of seems like because these individuals have these mental disabilities, we should just write them off and like, I don't want to be bothered with them. I don't even want to talk to them. Just like the other person said when they walked into the store, no one would even give him the time of day. That's what I think is wrong with society right now. Because look, I'll be honest, I don't want to be this size. I want to be a size 16 or a size. I wouldn't mind being a size 14, 12. That's my goal for my body. But that doesn't mean that I should not speak my truth, not be represented, not go out on dates, not, travel. Like, I want all of everything that every other person gets, I should be allowed to get that as well, even while I'm going through this journey. And I think a lot of people just look at us and just be like, oh, you're not healthy, you're bad, I don't even want to talk to you. That's the problem that I have.
Vivian, let me say this to what you just stated. If you hung out with me, I'm going to be very honest with you. You're going to need to, this is my personal opinion of it. You'll have to start hanging out with people that exercise 5 days a week. You'll have to hang out with people that cook healthy or eat healthy. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I ate for dinner tonight a healthy meal, salmon and asparagus. I finished it off with a cup of coffee and some fig Newtons, 2 fig Newtons. But look, you don't have to be perfect, is what I'm saying. As long as you try and take the initiative. If you start hanging out with healthy people, there's a high probability you'll start getting healthy. And this is a problem.
But then again, you're assuming what I eat. That's what I'm saying. You're assuming that I'm eating cookies and pies and I need to hang out with individuals that eat healthy. I'm a vegetarian.
Then don't hang out with me, Vivian.
I'm going to say, Vivian, yeah.
Allow me to respond real
my
quick.
diet's real bad.
Allow me to say something real quick. Vivian said something that I thought was really interesting. You said you wanted to be able to do everything like everyone else does. Like you should, but you do have that right. Okay, that's the thing, that you have that right. But the problem is you want it to equate. You want it to be like you want it to be done without any expectations for you. And that's the problem. It's like you want it to be just done just because you want it. But the girls that put in the weight, or the guys that go in the gym and they put in the work to get these dates or to look a certain way, to be attractive enough for certain people, to appeal to a certain person's eyes, they're getting it because they're doing something to help promote them to get it. Now, if an individual just wants it because they're not doing any work, why? Why do you deserve that? Like, that's not something you deserve. Nobody deserves a date. You get the privilege to go on a date. You get the privilege to be asked out or to go on, find somebody to ask you on a date. It's not an entitlement. And that's the problem with a lot of people, is they tend to think of things as an entitlement. I should be able to go on a date with whoever I want, just like she should. Well, no, because she's different than you. She's not you. Just like I'm not him. I should not go and be like, I should have that kind of guy's, I should have his bank account. Why? Because we both got dicks, and I should have his bank account because we got dicks. Like, it doesn't make sense. He earned that money. He put in the work to get to that place, to deserve that. So he could go on those jet trips. I didn't do that work. I didn't put in the work like he did. So I can't complain about him being a privilege to have a lifestyle that I can't afford, something that I never put in for.
Okay, but Glenn, I just want to say, like, I've been big my whole life. I grew up big.
So was I.
Like, but here's the thing, is like, I'm not saying that if you don't want to date a fat chick, that's fine. I'm talking about if I want to, I just don't want to be discriminated against, basically. That's what I'm talking about.
But you're also saying that you want to be able to go on trips or go shopping and all these things. But you're able to do that. Nobody says because you're a bigger girl means that you can't get on a plane and go fly somewhere. So, like, you were using those as examples, being like, if I want to travel, if I want to do this, you have the right to do that. You buy your ticket. Someone's not going to look at you and tell you, I'm sorry, you can't get on this plane. Nobody's ever going to say that to you. You bought your ticket. Your right is in your seat. It has nothing to do with your weight. You can still
you are right. That people do get the misconception that think that people that are overweight, they just gorge on food. Because when I was big, my problem was I would gorge and then I just wouldn't eat for a while. because I was trying to like starve myself, you know. Like,
Well, there
Vivian,
is. Wait a minute. There is discrimination. They have told plus size people, men and women, you have to
Absolutely.
buy 2 seats in order to sit here. You
now
have to
that's
go
recent.
over there.
That's
We can't.
recent. Yeah,
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
that was
it doesn't matter if it happened last night or 3 months ago, but that is a fact. There is discrimination. So we
Vivian,
can't
did you
act
say
like
you
there's
are
no
a plus size
discrimination.
model?
It's not discrimination. I don't think it's
Okay, so
discrimination if the person
if
is
it's if discrimination is a hot point, which why would you be in an industry that is all discrimination? There are women who are plus size who will never be able to do what you do because they're not as attractive as you. That is an industry that's built on judging, discriminating.
criticism.
It's just different.
Well, not for a lot of companies that I work for.
They judge you on the way you look.
Our main goal is to get women who look like normal women to be modeling those outfits. So you have like plus size modeling now in the fashion industry is size 12, size 10, size 8. When the average women's size is over a size 16. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to incorporate more women who are a size 20, size 22. When I say I'm a plus size model, that means I'm not signed. I do model for companies that reach out to me for photo shoots and things like that because that's what their overall that's what they're trying to do in their market. I would not be signed because I'm a size 22. No agency is going to sign me.
But anybody who would sign you because you're aesthetically attractive, not because they. So you are in a industry that even if they decide, okay, we're going to have size 22 models, you would get picked over somebody else who is less attractive. So you've aligned yourself with an industry that does nothing but judge people. And one of the things you say is you don't want to be judged, but I want to be a model in an industry that's built on judging people.
What she's saying is that she's working
for what I say, judge me for things like that, but don't judge me just because I happen to be heavier than you. But you're right. That's what I'm saying is that there's people in the plus size fashion industry that's trying to change that. But here's
There'll never be unattractive models.
I mean, you see, I don't know.
That goes against the whole
true.
concept of modeling itself. If there's unattractive models, don't get it twisted. You're light skinned.
You're light skinned in some form of way.
There are agencies dedicated to abstract models, abstract faces.
One-off.
No, it's not. There are people in wheelchairs that are signed to agencies and amputees, people missing noses.
10%. That's 5-10%. 90% are about aesthetically attractive women like Vivian. That's what they're doing.
I don't.
Wait a minute. All those people.
I think it should be if you can model an outfit good. If you demand attention, then you should be able to model no matter how short or big you are. But if you can't walk down the runway or you put this dress on and you don't you stand stiff or whatever, then maybe you're not the best model for that. I think people are trying to change that. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the one thing that I always tell people, because that is one of the biggest misconceptions about modeling, is that you have to be pretty to be a model. Let me tell you, coming from behind the scenes and working in front of the scenes, the worst, and I mean the absolute worst person to work with, to photograph, to put on the runway, is the conventional pretty girl who's been told she's been pretty her whole life. They are the absolute worst models. And what Vivian is saying is an it factor. Okay, the one thing that all models have in common is an it factor, and you pretty much said they command the attention, they command the room, they can sell. Your whole job is to sell these people's products and services. They can give a damn about how pretty you are, how big you are, how small you are. Can you sell my shit to the people who like you?
It's just funny how 90% of those people are attractive.
And please visit Vivian Sinya on Instagram. She has really beautiful pictures and she can help you be a plus size influencer. Lots and lots of juicy information over there. I love her page. It's very well put together. I want to jump into the next topic, but I need to know who can stay and who can go. You can stay for the next topic, or you guys can bow out because I know I kept you longer than 2 hours. My bad.
I
knew
gotta
it
get
would
going because I got a pack. I got Vegas tomorrow, so
okay.
I gotta go, you guys.
See you,
Yeah,
Glenn.
I need to bounce
Pleasure
too.
as always.
All right,
Talk to you
All
guys
yeah.
right,
later.
Glenn.
See you, Coco.
Bye.
Bye, Kogo. Thank you. Is Vivian staying too? Are you staying, Vivian? Yay. Okay, so the next topic
Yeah,
is
I'm gonna run away. I'm gonna run away, guys. I will see you guys a little later.
okay.
I'm supposed to do a stream, so
Bye,
See you on
love.
the next
All
one.
right,
Thank
Miss
you so
Polly.
okay,
much, Miss
darlings. Y'all have a
Polly.
good night.
Okay, so Tristan, you could come back up now. There is room. There were some people waiting backstage. There's room now. Although I'm not going to be here all night. This is the last topic of the night, everybody. Okie dokie. No Saint. You
Yeah.
you were busting at the seams. You had a lot to say about what was being said up here tonight. Would you like to go over that before we jump into the last topic of the night?
The problem is it was over such a long period of time, and
We've told
a
you a
lot.
million times. We've
I
told
know,
you a million
I know,
times.
but the problem is we'd be rehashing, and a lot of it was some pushback on Glenn. But I will say this: that people who are overweight, like that's the whole thing. Everybody thinks all you have to do is this, all you have to do is that. Your body has a certain weight, and once you gain weight and you can lose weight, your body wants to get back to that weight, and it's a lot easier. That's why people do the yo-yo. I hear an echo. Is that me?
I don't hear an echo.
Okay. So that's why you see people lose weight and then they can't keep it off. Another thing is people who are naturally overweight, like are more prone to be overweight. It's actually because their bodies are more efficient. The people who can eat anything and stay skinny, their bodies aren't efficient. What am I talking about? I'm talking about because before we had all this sugar, before we had all this access to food.
My body's not efficient. I'm not efficient.
No, because before we had all this sugar, all this food at will, you were out there searching for food. So it was better for your body to be able to pack that weight on because you didn't have as much access to all these carbohydrates. You didn't have a lot of access to all the meats and everything. So it works against you now in this society. But at one time, that wasn't a bad thing. That was actually, you wouldn't, in other words, you wouldn't necessarily be big, but you would be surviving because your body would put on those calories a lot easier than somebody who can eat whatever they want and stay skinny, like you do see some people these days. Anyway, no, there was like I said in the chat, it's a lot harder being in the chat because I'm sitting there thinking,
I'm sorry, no Saint. Well, I already told you how I was gonna run. I will say this. I forgot to tell Glenn. I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was Glenn, but he was like, there was never a time. He brought up the time where Twiggy was in, very skinny model, and then 60s and 70s people got big. But centuries ago, all the women were plump. When you look at all the old art, so he was wrong there. All the women were plump back then. Which goes to what you said, no Saint. Back in the day, it was different. Interesting, because it's true. Like when I gain weight, it's I'm on the opposite side of that. I think I was telling Haran, I'm like I have what do you call it? Reverse anorexia, right? Where it's like anorexia, people look in the mirror and they're like, I'm fat no matter what I look like. I'm the opposite. I feel like I'm skinny no matter what I look like. So I'm constantly, it's literally reverse anorexia. I'm constantly like eating cakes and cookies and whatever I can get my hands on. I do the exact opposite of what people try to do when they're losing weight. So I eat after midnight. I eat dessert after every meal. If I eat something salty, I have to eat something sweet. I'm drinking proteins and shakes. And so, like, it's a constant. And like you said, your body goes back to whatever, because if I do gain 5 pounds, I'm like, yay, I gained 5 pounds. And if I don't eat for like the way I was eating for 2 days, I'm right back to I never ate anything.
That's me, Jam.
And that's been my entire life. So I think, we all want something else, right? You got straight hair, you want curly hair, you got curly hair, you want, vice versa. But we're all battling something. We all have in our minds what we're supposed to look like, and then there's society. But I do have to say it's harder on women. I know guys will be like, no, it's the same.
Oh, absolutely.
It's way harder on women. We have more, but your tits gotta look like this, your ass gotta look like this, your waist gotta, your hair gotta look, your lips gotta, your eyes. Men, y'all come in. I mean, even the men I've dated, some of their teeth were jacked up, receding hairlines, missing eyeball, missing teeth, and they're running around confident.
It's a man's world.
and they're running around confident, like, hey, I know I can get a woman. Why? Because we accept them as is, while we worry about every little thing. But this has been a battle for me my entire life, and it's exhausting when everybody's telling you what you're supposed to look like and blah blah. And culturally, ay, ¿qué te pasa, mi hija? Come, and I'm like, what the I just fucking ate. What do you mean eat? What else do you want me to do? So, it's not easy for anybody, but I do agree with Vivian that, it's all about representation. It is, let me tell you something. We're so delicate growing up. It's the littlest thing. It's seeing a brown-skinned girl in a cartoon that could change your trajectory. If it wasn't for, Vasquez in the movie Aliens, I would have never seen who I thought I was in a movie or on TV. I saw Vasquez and it changed my life. Like, I am now Vasquez everywhere I go. I was molded by this Latina killing aliens with the bandana. You know what I mean? It's like, so representation is very, very important. I don't believe in the, oh, just don't shove it in our face. Like, who's shoving? Like, if you don't like it, you know what I mean? Turn the channel. With that said, if you're going to put yourself out there, you are not exempt from critique. So my advice would be grow thicker skin, because people are getting more vitriolic. People are getting more and more mean, tasteless, classless, like just evil. Social media, evil. So, for your survival, you should grow tougher skin. We're all out here trying to make it, but I think representation, and I didn't know the number was 70%. Now that I know the number is 70%, it is asinine to not, veer into accommodating 70% of the population, right? I think it would make sense to me. Of course, there are people trying to capitalize. And, when I saw Victoria's Secret and I walk, the shopping mall here, and I see the plus size model on big blown up, on the post, and I'm side-eyeing Victoria's Secret, and I'm like, oh, you see that money that Rihanna's making? I see what you doing. Y'all full of shit. Y'all weren't doing this before, right? So we all want something else. We should just all be healthy of mind and body, whatever that is. I do want to get into the last topic, and then we can get the hell up out of here unless somebody has a rebut for anything I said or anything they've heard. Okay, we will move on. Are LGBTQIA rights oppressive to heterosexual people? We've seen many, many people get canceled, lose work, lose money, lose popularity, lose followers, lose subscribers because they dared to say something about the LGBTQIA. Some people have lost big money behind saying something about the LGBTQIA. Is the community suppressive or oppressive to heterosexuals? Do we have to watch our lip before we have an opinion? Do we have to watch our lip before we say, why is that man in a dress? I don't want to see a man in a dress. Listen, lady or man, whoever you are, go use the designated bathroom. I am a woman. I don't want you in this bathroom, trans woman, et cetera, et cetera. Is it oppressive to heterosexual people? Is everybody hypersensitive? What say you? Is it just as simple as mind your own business? Can we not have opinions anymore? I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, in my opinion, like, I feel like my issue is anytime people try to legislate courtesy or being courteous to other people. I think you should only legislate safety and access. Those are the only two things that we should legislate. If you're saying like, I have to, if a bunch of legislation is coming out saying you have to do this, but it's in reality, it's a courtesy that you should extend to somebody if you want to, because people have the right. I think people have the right to be assholes if they want to be assholes. Like, I'm courteous. Like, I will, like, somebody says, you know, like right now, and like on LinkedIn or whatever, it's like your pronouns and all this kind of stuff like that. That shit gets confusing. I mean, it's just one of those things where I can't call one person a they. I just can't. It just doesn't roll off the thumb. What you call it? If you identify as a woman, I would call you she. If you identify as a man, I will call you he. Preferably, I would prefer to call you by your name, but don't make it, I'm gonna lose my job if I don't call you they. If I don't refer to you as multiple people, as plural. So that's what I think. I was like, legislate. I'm gonna make legislation to where you have access to the things that you should have access to, and that you're safe from any type of physical or emotional harm. But don't tell me I have to be courteous to you if I choose not to.
Oh.
But I'm a nice guy, so I'll be courteous to anybody. But I'm just saying, I'm fighting for anybody who has the right to be an asshole.
Well, you know how I feel about pronouns, though. I mean, it's real simple for me. For people who don't respect pronouns, I don't either. I'd be like, yes, ma'am, to the man. Yes, yes, sir, to the woman. I give the same energy. It's real simple.
But there's a difference between one being you overtly trying to be combative.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. But when they're being intentional on trying to put you in your place, right? So when they're saying, I refuse to respect the pronouns. Okay, well, I refuse to respect yours, and we're even. It's that simple.
Because I'm like, if I was in a situation, I'd be like, okay, if somebody said, call me that, you have to call me that. I'd be like, what is your name? Can I just call you your name? Do we have to go there? Can I just call you Steve or what you call? Because can I just call you whatever your name is? Does it have to get into the pronoun? Because it becomes a battle of, it's not about the me respecting who you are, acknowledging who you are. It's about something else. At that point, if you are fighting me so hard, I was like, just let me call your name. Then there's no issue.
Yeah,
but that's not good enough in a lot of times.
Yeah, that's respectful. That's respectful.
I mean, you can call people by their name, but there's going to be a time where you're going to have to, you might say he or she. And then, because I had a meeting with someone that went by they, and I'm not going to lie, I'm looking at them and they, it is difficult, like, but it's a learning experience. And thank God my encounter with people who go by them and they have been, very nice to me if I happen to call them a he or a she and they go by they. And I have people in the queer community that is kind of like educating me, and I educate myself, and I go on the internet and I'm like, wait, I don't understand this. I think that when it comes to the word oppressive just means change. Like, people can't deal with change that well, so then they say they're being oppressed. But it's like, if people who didn't understand the pronouns or didn't want to abide by these new pronouns, or not knowing what non-binary is, or all this kind of stuff, it just takes education, and it takes the willingness to want to learn. But also, it is the people who are a part of that community have to be willing to allow mistakes, to be open to someone calling them the wrong type of pronoun and being like, oh, you know what, I really go by they, and educating, even though a lot of people say I shouldn't have to educate you, and to a certain degree that's correct, but at the same time, this is like, I feel like this is a whole new thing in this world right now, and people just don't know how to navigate it. And if you come from it with a kind heart and in a kind place, then it's okay. But if you get people who, I have a problem if someone uses a woman's bathroom and they're not what they would consider a woman, that can be a huge change for them. That can be something that's changing their whole world. And so I understand like why some people may feel like it's oppressive, but I think it just comes down to, are you willing to be open and learn?
But
So
what if they're not?
really quickly, just want to acknowledge these super chats. Thank you for the super chat, Fahim Jackson. Fahim Jackson says, "Natural Woman" by Aretha Franklin recently asked to be pulled by trans women from music platforms. So it has gotten sensitive. That was a rumor. That was on a site. It was satire. People ran with it like they're
Yeah.
running with everything, but that was untrue, Fahim. Unfortunately, people ran with it. Glenn Lawrence, thank you for the super chat. Glenn says, "You are only allowed to express your opinion without consequences as long as no one's feelings get hurt. So if you hurt someone's feelings speaking the truth, it may cost you your job." I did want to ask, what if you just don't want to be educated, but you're not being mean about it? You're just like, no, I'm 70 years old. I don't care to learn new pronouns. It is what it is. If I call you him or her, or she or he, like, I don't need, just leave me alone about it. Can those people just be left alone and just let them live their own lives? Or are you going to argue them down and insist that they should address you a certain way? Also, Damien, I wanted to ask you, how do you describe yourself race wise? What would you say? If I say, hey,
I'm
what's
black.
your race?
I say I'm
You're
black.
black. Would you ever use African American?
I have.
Okay.
If it was appropriate or whatever, yeah. Like if somebody was saying, "Hey, are you African American?" Yes, I'm African American. I've said that.
How about Negro?
I mean, it's an outdated term, so not really. I wouldn't use the word Negro.
But I know I've had a white person who was outdated. They were like born and raised in the mountains, and they still call colored. That was the word. He still refers to everyone as colored. He meant no harm. He's just outdated. He's just
yeah.
You might as well just say nigga.
Another thing is, really quickly, another thing is that it's overwhelming, right? Because before we spoke about representation, which is important, but now we're on representation overload. Okay. It's like we're constantly we have to like celebrate the guys with no eyes. Now we got to celebrate the girls with no ass. Now we got to celebrate the people with no tits. Now we got to celebrate the people who are deaf and mute and blind. These people want to be addressed this way, and these people want to be addressed this way. And this person
Olympics.
you can't use midget anymore. It's a little person, and you can't use the word retard anymore. It's mentally challenged. Like, it's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot.
It is. And Jen, that's why I am very me personally, I am very understanding and sensitive to that particular thing, because I realize we have everybody out here now being marginalized and oppressed and suppressed, and so everybody wants to be marginalized. So I get it. Everyone's screaming about this and that, respect me, and they're changing everything every 5 minutes. So for me, it just boils down to basic human respect. Treat me with the same respect that I treat you. I actually expect people to make mistakes. I actually expect people not to know. Why the fuck would you know? Like, I'm like just the average person. If you might be concerned about paying your bills, the safety of your children, just normal day-to-day things. And the LGBTQ community may be out of your scope. And you probably don't even know anyone in the community. So so I could be the first person you meet. Mm-hmm. I don't know that. But I can feel that energy. I can feel that exchange when it's just sheer ignorance and they just don't freaking know. And then I can politely correct them and educate them. Now, for those who say it's not my job to educate people, I respect their right and I respect their opinion, just like I respect people's right to be ignorant, because people do have the right to be ignorant. Mm-hmm. They don't have to learn anything that they don't want to learn, right? Mm-hmm. So I say to that, well, it has to be somebody or some people to bridge the gap, because what I see a lot of times with the queer community, they only want to preach to the choir, but I understand that as well, because it takes a strong person to go up against the hatred and just the backlash that comes to speaking to a non-queer audience, right? But for me, I feel like, you know what, because I am at a place in my life where I am secure with myself and that words cannot hurt me at all. I don't mind the backlash if it's to educate a few people, right? So, you know, you do have to have some people to stand in the gap to be able to say, hey, listen, I know you don't understand, but this is how this is. And even with me being in the community, sometimes I can't even keep up because it's always something new, especially with the younger queer community. I can't even keep up. So how the hell would I expect someone who's not in the community to know every little nuance? I don't. And I just feel like it's unrealistic.
So I identify as Puerto Rican, Afro Latina. And even in my community, I feel like it's getting ridiculous. It's like we don't use Puerto Rican or Afro Latina anymore. We're Latinx now, or we're Latin, or it's Nincantancla because we're not Latin. You're not supposed to use the word. I'm like, fuck off. I can only take but so much. I can only take but so much. So as far as identity, I feel like identify how you see fit, but I refuse, like Dame said, like when you start forcing people, that's when it gets a little weird. And I do think if you are the new thing, right? Let's say if I'm the new thing, I identify now as a succubus. I identify as this new thing. I'm sorry, I feel like it's my job. If I want you to address me as such, it is my job to educate you because I'm the one that's coming with the new thing. I'm the one that's coming with a different thing. So I wouldn't be, I wouldn't push back on, it's not my job to educate you. Yes, the fuck it is, because you're the new thing. That's how I feel about it. You're the new thing. You have to educate me because I don't know anything about it. But, even like, I don't even bend with like the whole Latin thing that's going on. It's turning into all sorts of shit now. And I'm just like, I can't keep up. I'm half 100. What is your name? That's where I'm like, what is your name? Long as I'm nice to you and I give you the jacket off my back, like, what is your name? Because there's a million things going on, especially with social media. You do lose track, right?
I have a question, Lily.
Yeah.
In terms of the LGBTQ community, IA community, do you think it would be as powerful and influential as it is now if white men didn't benefit from it?
Oh, hell no. This wasn't about Black people or people of color in the first place. Let me be really, really clear about that. It's just that Black people and people of color got trickled down
Right.
benefits from it. But it was never about them. This was a race thing, first and foremost. This was a class thing, first and foremost, just like any other thing. It's always going to be about race and class, and then you add everything else up into the mix.
Okay. So what can we do? Everybody on the panel has these passions very simply. What can we do, the people that aren't part of that particular community, to be, I don't want to say ally, it's a little cliche, but just to be decent human beings in your world? What can we do?
I'm very inclusive. I come from a Caribbean background. My family is old school Jamaican. Yeah, they're not as tolerant at all. But when I was growing up, I never. When I was growing up, I never thought that, a gay person, you should be sentenced to death and so on. First of all, from my perspective, no Black person should be standing on the side of any idea of being murdered because you're different. Because there was a whole crusade, against us when we were on the chopping block. So nobody, no Black person should be standing on that side of the fence. So I'm inclusive. I don't discriminate and so on and so forth or whatever. I understand that there are a number of things I don't understand. You know,
And he froze.
Uh-oh. That's
oh
St. Louis
man,
Wi-Fi.
yeah, you got
Can't
me.
hear you, Damien.
You don't understand how the internet works.
Right.
He's like,
Haran's looking like, don't you ever.
Okay.
So, guys, shall we continue? How can we help in this crazy world where everybody's bashing everybody?
It's simple respect. That's it. It's just simple decency. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and in doing that, sometimes the way I want to be treated, I may find that you have a different form of treatment that you care. So then, you have to, it's up to you to speak up and say, hey, that whole little sweetie honey thing that you do, you mind kind of calling me my name, So, I just feel like it's just like, just start off by treating people the way you want to be treated. Just start off right there. And then it's up to the other person to convey their needs and wants. And if you are willing to comply, if it's not something that is, out of the way, then, hey, it doesn't hurt to comply. You might have something like, for instance, I don't like when someone, like if I'm eating with someone that, you mind closing your mouth when you eat?
Oh, y'all gonna hate me when you meet me in person. Oh my goodness. I'm hearing so many things tonight that if we were in the same room, y'all gonna hate me.
Right.
You smack your mouth when you eat, girl.
Yeah, listen, it tastes better.
Jesus.
If I'm eating steak,
Christ.
if I'm eating steak or
Jesus
fruit,
fucking Christ.
I need to do ASMR.
Oh God.
Yes,
Jesus.
I'm that girl.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
like every man's pet peeve is a beautiful woman who fucking smacks her mouth when she's fucking eating her ass.
The food tastes better. The food tastes better.
Don't worry, Jen. I can overlook that.
Thank you. Somebody cares. Damn
I'm leaving
it.
the room. I'm leaving the room.
that's why
I'm
you
leaving the
dating
room
dudes
just
with
now.
one eye and one leg. And
I'm
they
equal
can't stand that. They can
listen.
stand that smacking.
I'm an equal.
They're like, go home, baby, and eat that food.
No, I've dated men from all walks of life. I will say that. I will say that.
Thank you for letting me know that ahead of time.
And none of them ever left because I chewed loud.
Oh
They just
God,
didn't want to get
They wanted
stopped.
to.
warning me. I'll remove myself.
Y'all leaving me already? Like, come on. Like,
Just
y'all
gonna eat
gonna
by
hate me in person. Listen, wait till you see what I eat. You gonna be
Man.
like, ain't no fucking way.
No, but Jen, when you was naming how you eat, I'm like, that is so me.
Oh Lord.
I go in
the supermarket and I count calories. I go in the supermarket and I'm like, this doesn't have enough calories. Which brand has more calories than the other one? The one that has the more calories, that's the one I'm gonna buy. Like, I literally go to the supermarket and shop like that. This one,
that's how I do. And if it says like low fat or fat free, I'm offended.
No.
I'm like, excuse me.
I can't. I need all the fat, all the calories, all the whatever is it, all the butters. That I need it.
Yeah,
I need it, or I'll disappear. I did want to touch on this though. What do we think about people getting fired for speaking, just having an opinion on LGBTQIA? And then we can get out of here.
Okay. Well, that's a little sticky. Okay. I have to put that in context, right? So let's just say if it's not LGBT, let's just say if it's something else, if it is race or weight or gender, depending on how it's done.
Okay.
Will determine if I feel like it's fair. But just now, I do know here in New York, it's very big on inclusivity and like you can be fired for misgendering someone.
Oh shit. Is that what they doing now?
Oh yeah. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because I've seen it. This is why I don't agree with that, because people will of course take advantage, right? In every community, like I've stated before, you have everyone who wants to be, victimized. You have a group of people in every community who wants to play the victim. Down to the fact that I saw a commercial when I was in Atlanta, you all. It was a commercial with like 5 white people, and they were talking about how they felt victimized for being white and how it was crazy. So everybody wants to be a victim. So I've seen people in the queer community use that law to get people fired, good people fired, just because they made a mistake. And that's just because they're just like, this particular person is a miserable person and they love the role as victim and they want to make everyone pay. So that's a slippery slope. I don't like that.
That's
that
fucked up.
victim weaponization is a real thing, and it happens way too far off. I mean, like I said, and a lot of it is just courtesy. It has nothing to do. I'm not threatening you. There's a difference if I say, like I said, with the whole them thing. If somebody was like, "Oh my God, Damien didn't use my preferred pronouns, he needs to get fired." But if I'm actively saying something, I'm not being saying anything negative or being harsh or detrimental to you. I'm just asserting my right to not to not do it. You know, but it's just like you're saying, okay, well, your right supersedes my right to not do it, so you get fired. You know, it's just one of
That's
those.
horrible.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with you, Dane. Like, my right and your right. I like I always say, people have the right to be ignorant. You just don't have the right to touch me or threaten me.
Prevent access or safety. Those are the things where I'm all for legislating. But if it's just like, hey, you know, it makes me feel better if you do this, and I'm like, well, I don't give a shit about you feeling better. You know.
Okay, so Vivian has to leave us. That is her name, Vivian Sinya. This was amazing. Thank you so much, Vivian, for being
You are
here.
awesome, Vivian.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Vivian came with it. She was like, "What happened? What was that?"
She was like, "What?" She was like, "Where? Where?
What was that?" No, I loved it. I loved it.
I gotta dive out of here too. My dog won't stop barking because I'm on here, so
Aw.
keeping the kids up.
Okay, no saint. Bye.
So I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, mañana we'll be back.
All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly comment on the actual question and then check out. I come from a traditional background, so you know these pronouns, and of course I come from a different generation, but I was raised with values. So I was raised to respect people even if they're different. So what I tend to do is I step back and try to place myself in that other person's shoes before I make a comment. But that has to do with upbringing. And again, I'm a traditional guy, right? And my family has quite a few traditions and values. As a kid, I was always corrected when I would make a comment about another kid that was different or another person that was different. So I think a lot of that has to do with upbringing. And over the last couple of years during this pandemic, it's really interesting because the industry I'm in, there's people all of a sudden pushing empathy and being empathetic towards others. But pre-pandemic, that wasn't always the case with the same people, right? What's really in today is being empathetic towards people that are different. And so, you know, I think things will start, it's going to take some time, but things will start transitioning towards showing empathy towards people that are different. As far as the actual labels, I'm not familiar with them. Sometimes I'll have to Google it, to be honest with you. And that's because I don't know, you know, so if I were to refer to someone a certain way and I make a mistake, I don't take it personal. I know it's a transition into understanding people that are part of the LGBTQ community. And I say this as a person that comes from multiple minority background, right? So from a religious and an ethnic background. So I could empathize because I'm part of that minority in America. And so I would just say it's all about upbringing and background and how you were raised, and then also just being aware and cognizant of the other person's feelings.
Oh, see, Rod, you could be nice.
I think that's the effect that you have on me, Jen.
You know, it's interesting, and we're winding down here. So this was great. We got out of it unscathed. No one got cut. No one got cussed out. I was trying to pick a fight with Glenn, but he wasn't playing along. Have you guys heard of Shauna Ray? It's a TLC program. She looks 8, but she's 22 years old.
I saw that. I saw the preview for that. I didn't watch it. I've not watched it, but I've seen it.
Okay, it's interesting. So she's a 22-year-old woman, but she looks 8, not like fake 8. Like she looks 8. She looks like a little girl. She sounds like a little girl and everything. I was watching her the other day. It's an interesting show, but then it gets kind of redundant. And she was like vehemently saying that she hates going out, or she went to a gym and she's pissed off that people are staring at her. And I'm like, that to me is ignorant on her part. If you are a 22-year-old woman that looks 8 and you're serving drinks at a bar, because she's a bartender as well, people are going to stare at you and they're going to wonder why you're here. It's not even like she doesn't look 8 or kind of 8. She looks 8 years old. So, but she said it in a very like nasty way. I thought she was like, people stare at me like they're always staring at me when I go in because you look 8.
Right.
And 8-year-olds aren't supposed to be doing push-ups and they're not supposed to be at the squat rack and what have you. And that's the type of thing that I don't like. Like my name has been mispronounced my entire life, right? I don't cuss people out. Like, what are you, dumb? I'm just like, no, it's Janicia, right? Because people don't know, even though it's phonetic. Even though it's phonetic and you can look at it and read it. But people mess it up. They call me Janicia, Janikia, Janice. And I'm like, it's Janicia, right? So that's just something, seeing as I have the different name, I have to help them with it. Now, of course, these same people could pronounce doxycycline and you know, all types of other shit. But, you know, I'm here to help. Thank you so much, Afro Universe, for this super chat.
Yeah, because you know I'm always Lily.
It's funny though. People are just surprised, and it's just shocking to me that you're surprised that people all have a reaction to things that are out the traditional norms. I can understand not being rude or abrasive about it, but yes, if I am in the gym and I see a dude with a third arm, I'm going to be like, hey, look at that guy with the third arm. And not to say that, you know, everybody who's out of the norm is freaks or anything like that. But I'm just saying, it's just anything out of the norm people are going to look at. And that should be expected. So the 22-year-old look 8-year-old should expect that and make her peace with it.
That's right. That's the bottom. When I decided that I was going to live my truth, that was the very first thing I said to myself. I was like, bitch, you got a choice in the matter. Okay. You can stay trying to appease society and be safe and miserable. Mm-hmm. Or you can live your truth, and knowing that living your truth is going to come with another set of consequences.
Absolutely.
So which consequences do you want to pay? Right. And so these are the consequences I chose to pay. And yes, I got stared at. I got, all of the stuff that came with it. But I was already at peace with it because I wasn't stupid. I knew that was going to come with it. And in addition to that, I had another choice to make. When it comes, how do I handle it? Do I rebut to every single person who stares at me and points at me? And do I do that? So, because then I'll be still giving them my power.
Right.
So then I had to grow tough skin and not give people my power and be okay in my own skin. So that's what I like to preach. That's what I like to put out to all people, not just queer people or people who are obese. I'm talking about all people. Be okay in your own skin. You don't have to defend shit. Like, you are who you are. Some people are not going to like it. It's okay. You have,
Yeah. Don't look at
a unicorn ain't constantly explaining why it got a horn on its head. It's a fucking unicorn, and it's fucking fabulous. And if you've never seen one before, great, but it's still gonna be a unicorn. It is Janicia. It's Janicia. Yes. Yeah. So, with that said, unicorn is hungry after all this food talk.
I know.
Whatever I go eat, Don Levon, I'm gonna go smack it.
Yeah. Okay.
Smack.
Ooh, that's just the worst sound on the planet.
It is, Dave. It is.
It is. It's just certain sounds that are just like visceral.
Yeah, okay. It's the best sound. It's the worst sound until you hear like. Then that's a different sound. And y'all ain't got no problem with that one, right? That one's okay.
I'm
That's
just
always
saying.
okay.
I'm just saying. That's the only time.
That sound you like. You don't care if we're smacking then, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the smack then.
I bring all the noise, all the heat.
Right. Damn it. The smacking is great then. Bring on the smack.
No manners.
That was in Dolby. All right, guys. This was amazing. I hope we still have a lot of people in the room. I hope you liked the panel. If you're catching the replay, please leave what you think about the panelists in the comments. If you want to respond to anything they said or challenge anything they said, you could be up next on the panel as long as you show your face. We will be back tomorrow. It's getting closer and closer to Freaky Friday. I have a treat for Freaky Friday as well. So we'll be back tomorrow. I did have a topic, but I don't remember it right now. So I'll just throw it in the community section. Damien said goodbye early. Okay, Damien. Damien dropped off.
All right, thank you for allowing me on the panel.
Thank you for coming, Rob.
I have a little bit of a cold. That's probably why I'm high, So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So hopefully I'll be a little bit better near future. But I'll leave it at that. And thank you for allowing me to learn more about the LGBTQ community. Because at the end of the day, I think it's going to take education to really change people's minds.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for being
Rod. You're always welcome here.
Appreciate that. Good night.
Good night.
All right, Jen.
Do you see this beauty up here? Do you see this, Lily? Do you see this?
And look, we're in sync. We're in sync today.
We are.
I'm supposed to be this way. This way. Yeah. We're
We
in sync.
are. Wait. Oh, this way.
Yeah, this way.
We are ready to go. We are ready to go. This was great. We have to debrief and discuss some things behind the scenes later on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Damien. See you later. See you mañana. See you mañana. And we'll discuss. I think you threw a topic at me that was interesting in the thing. Okay, so we'll probably do that. We'll talk about it. All right. Good night, Mama.
All right. See you later. See you, chat.
All right, guys, if you're still here, please hit that like and subscribe on your way out the door for Mama. Don't forget, you can also support On the Block with Jen at Cash App. If you're catching the replay, I'll be asleep and I'll get the bling bling in my sleep and I'll wake up and I'll see you sent me a super chat with your stalking ass at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. All right, guys, come back tomorrow. Please hit that like and subscribe because I went over 4,000 subscribers, but I'm already looking at 5K. I want the 5,000 subscribers. My mind is already on the 5K. That's how I move, okay? I appreciate the 4K. I'm already on the 5K. So hope you enjoyed this evening. Hope you learned some things. And I will see you tomorrow. It's okay, Haran. We'll fix it for tomorrow. Fix your internet for tomorrow. And I'll see you guys in DMs. Good night. I'm out. I'm hungry. All this food talk. Starving. I'm going to go smack Don Levon. I said what I said.